Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April 22nd, 2025 meeting of the Board of Education for Arlington Heights School District 25. Thank you to all of you that are joining us tonight. A lot of you here in person, but some virtually. Before we begin, I want to share that our meetings are when the school board conducts its business and are open to the public. Because we are an elected governmental body, we can only take action by majority vote in a public meeting like this one. We welcome the public to listen and observe, and we have community input sections on the agenda if you have questions or comments about the business of the board. With that, I call the organization and regular meeting to order. Ms. O'Brien, if you please call the roll.
Olenichek? Here. Neerman? Here. Jogi? Here. Scapalato?
Here.
Michael?
Here.
Cerniglia?
Here.
Faso?
Here.
Thank you, Londa. Please stand if you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, tonight's meeting is going to have a lot of celebrations, a lot of firsts, and we reserve the first space on the agenda to recognize the outstanding accomplishments of our District 25 students. To our students joining us tonight, thank you for being here with us despite your very busy schedules so we could celebrate your achievements. This evening, we're going to recognize student achievements in clubs and athletics. So we're going to start out with those students who won the Battle of the Books. So Dr. Kay and I are going to come to the center, and Dr. Kay will take it from there.
Good evening, everyone. I am really excited to recognize the Battle of the Book winners. I had the chance to be there at South Middle School when the competition was hot and heavy, and I'm thrilled that they took the honor of being recognized here at the Board of Education meeting. So if I could have the sponsors, Becky Fano, if you are here, please come on up, and Kelly O'Kelly, if you are here. I'm not sure if you are. We'd like you to come up as well. Excellent. So Becky Fano, thank you for being here as a sponsor. I know you brought some words to prepare. And is there a slide deck or a slideshow as well?
So Adam made a great video that we thought we'd share.
And do you want to share that first or do you want to share that last? All right, so we will start. You can either watch behind my shoulder or in the back. So we will kick off the Battle of the Books video, and then I'll hand the mic to Becky to recognize the students.
Yeah, I would say he was excited. But for what, you ask? Books. District 25's annual Battle of the Books took place at South this past week with teams from South and teams from Thomas facing off in a trivia competition. The subject? Books.
In which book does a character's father give this advice? Time and effort. It's all just time and effort.
The students were assigned 10 books to read, and then there were rounds of trivia until there was a champion. Mrs. Fano and Mrs. O'Kelly put this friendly competition on every single year and switch off hosting the finals. The vibes were on point at South with popcorn, balloons, even a crowd of supportive parents. In the end, there was a champion, but all had a blast connecting over reading and knowledge, high fives, smiles, and book trivia. Thanks for watching. Bye.
So we'll allow Mrs. Fano to call up the students to be recognized. At that time, Greg Scapalato, our board president, will hand a gift of our appreciation to you. And I'd like to shake your hand and congratulations as well. And Becky Fano, thanks for being here to recognize your students.
Thank you. I'm going to have them come up, but then I'd like to tell you a little bit about Battle of the Books. It's kind of lonely up here, so boys, come on up. We've got Prakash Siva Subramanian. We've got Harshan Rajkumar Anusha, Andrew Ivan, Nolan Vanderclay, Stephen Munagala, and our hype man, Ethan De Leon. And I just have a few words I wanted to share. Adam, thanks again for making that video, capturing the championship battle and doing so in a way that celebrates these kids in the spirit of that celebration. You stole my line. I wanted to thank you for coming and showing up and supporting these kids, and thank you for having us. This is such a nice honor. In addition, we want to thank the Board of Ed, members of Central Office, our school principals, staff members, and parents for their continued support of these kids and this program. 7 years ago, Kelly O'Kelly and I sought approval to have this as a club at our middle schools. And our goals were pretty simple. We wanted kids to read great books, connect with other kids, be a part of a team, and have fun. Each year, 10 books from different genres are selected and teams are created. The kids here today represent over 150 students that took part in this club at both of our schools. And they made the commitment way back in October. The idea is that collectively, team members read 10 books. They don't each have to read 10 books. The idea is that together they read 10. But some of our teams, with this team included, have several members who actually read all 10 of the books because they have their sights set on that championship battle and they think it's going to increase their team's chance of making it to the championship round. In February, over the course of several weeks, school battles are held and scores are tallied. The competition is fierce. The top 3 teams, I think we had 4 this year from each school because we had a tie. Go on to compete at the district level, and like all good trophies, it's a traveling trophy, so this trophy has made its way back to Thomas. We're super proud and so honored that these kids brought it home to Thomas. So another round of applause. These kids worked super hard.
Let's center ourselves on the stage here, and let's get a photo opportunity. Parents, feel free to stand and get some photos. I did ask if we could get a repeat of the celebration from the video, and that was a hard no.
Let's do a photo. Let's do a photo. Congratulations. Thank you.
I was hoping maybe he could get that energy for the award, but he couldn't do it a second time. If you feel inspired, let me know. We still have time tonight. Next, I'd like to recognize the Thomas 7th grade girls volleyball team. Congratulations. I do see one of their coaches, Mr. Todd Slawinski, come on up. And is the other coach present? All right, Soraya Preshik is not here, but Todd, thanks for joining. We will give Todd a moment to recognize all of the students. I hear they have a video. Do you want to start with the video? All right, we will cue up the video. So thank you, Coach Slowinski, and we'll call up all the girls. We'll give them a token of appreciation on behalf of the board, and then I know you are really excited to share a little bit about the team.
All right, so first I'd like to announce the people that are not here to recognize them. So Amelia Riddell, Isabella Iwanicki, and Finley O'Brien could not make it tonight, but congratulations to them. So joining us tonight and part of the team, Adriana Marinescu. Girls, you can come forward. Mathea Ong. McKenna Fox. Alexa Lockhart. Claire Perkins. Karina Bodek. Krishna Valakula. Daniela Storelli. Marlo Das. And Kavinaya Mathakumar. All right, so I just want to share a couple things, but before I do so, I just want to say a couple thank yous. I'd like to thank the board, thank Dr. K for continuing to allow our athletic programs to participate in the ISA. It's a really great experience. We had the opportunity to compete in the regionals where we played 2 of our best games and we advanced to the sectional final. We won that and then we went downstate, which was one of our goals. So thank you to the board for allowing that opportunity to take place in our athletics. I'd also like to thank the parents. The parents this year were so supportive and encouraging. And the only thing that we need to do now is get more people down to the state tournament to support us. So we need an additional bus of fans to come down. But thank you, parents, for all your support throughout the season. You've been great. And lastly, I'd like to thank the girls. It's been such an honor and pleasure to coach these girls throughout the season. We've had a lot of fun. Now I'm coaching the boys, but sometimes I miss coaching the girls who actually listen when I tell them to do things. So it's very appreciated. As I was, trying to think of things to say about this team, I think one of the things that stood out throughout the season is how hardworking they were, and they really wanted to do well and improve throughout the season. We had 65 7th grade girls try out, and 13 girls made the team, and so they earned their spot. And when I was thinking of things to talk about, they're a really talented group, but I don't think the talent really is what defines them. They worked hard, they always wanted to get better, and they were always striving to improve, and I think that's what kind of allowed them to come together and make it all the way downstate. Another trait that I think this team had was just really positive. They never got down, and when they did get down, which happens in volleyball, they picked each other up, and the getting down was short-lived, and they were back smiling on their faces, maybe sometimes with a reminder. And the last thing is it was just a really fun group to coach, and I really appreciated that, in addition to working hard, they always came to practice, and we always had a fun time. And, even though the result of our match at state wasn't what we wanted, they still had a great experience. And by the time, we rode the party bus back to the hotel, they were all fine and had smiles on their faces again. And I think it will be, hopefully, a experience that they will never forget. And I think, hopefully, it will be an experience they can take with them next year, because I hope to be back here next year. But this time, I hope to have some sort of trophy to present to the board and show off. So congratulations again on a great season. So I have one more thing. In the club volleyball world, girls make clips and they give them to people. And so I've made the girls a clip, and so I'd like to give them a clip. And so I'm going to hand out a clip to them as a token of my appreciation to them throughout the whole season. But thank you all, and thank you girls for such a great season, and we'll be back again next year.
Stay for a photo. Okay. Congratulations. These look very special, these clips. 2025 state finals. Coach Slewinski was busy writing on those. One more time, congratulations to 7th grade, Thomas. And last but not least, we want to recognize our state wrestlers from both South and Thomas. We're going to recognize them at the same time. So I'm going to invite all 3 coaches, or 4 if they're all here, Jay Bingaman, Dan Birdie, and Anthony Greco. You guys can all come up at the same time. I will hand the mic over to Jay Bingaman. Is there a video or a clip you guys have planned to show? All right. Did you want to intro the slides at all? Oh, he does. All right.
Okay. So I'm sure I speak for Thomas too when I say we want to start by voicing our gratitude for the board for supporting us, the administrators, the other staff members at the schools, and the parent community. It can't be done without all of that support, including some parent volunteers. I know at South we had 2, Jeff Toll and Harry McDonough, that came out of the community voluntarily to help us coach these teams. It's what's allowed the teams to grow so large as they have. We had 65 students come to the wrestling team at South. I know that Thomas had at least that many. Very large numbers, and we've only had a wrestling program for about 6 years, and it's grown at that rate. And so that doesn't happen without a lot of support from a lot of people, not just a couple coaches, to turn that into the machine it's turned into. And so we've had a very large turnout. We did manage to get, for South, 5 students to qualify for sectionals. And then one of those wrestlers, through some very hard work and a lot of resilience, a lot of emotional resilience, qualified for state. Gabe Zabowski, if you want to come up, and if you could. Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, we had, as Thomas, we had 5 kids make it down to state, and we're very proud of them. If you guys want to come up, Billy Dugan. Lucas Sienna. Oh, no, I got him. Conoway, Canada. Then Everett Jansich. We also had one more make it, but I don't know if he is showing up or if he's going to be coming late, but that's Dino Klickus, but he's unfortunately not here with us today.
Let's do a photo. All right, I like the idea of a Thomas South combo wrestling team photo. Congratulations for making it to state. All right, Mr. Harris, get a photo for us. Are we going to go serious faces wrestling? Yeah, all right, serious. See if you can do it. Congratulations, gentlemen. Thank you for coming out tonight. Appreciate it. Thank you, coaches. Congratulations. Yeah. The ones you just got celebrated? Yeah. I'm happy to do it. Yeah. So at this time of the board meeting, we generally go into business. So those who are here to be recognized, students and families that came, You are always welcome to stay, but I'm also giving you a gracious exit now to leave if you'd like. Thank you for coming out tonight to celebrate your children. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
Well, we're going to continue with tonight's agenda and moving to the communications from district partners. The first on that section is a report from Amanda Bonsali, who's the president of the Arlington Heights Council of PTAs, and she sent in her report, and I'll share it with you. She says, "Good evening. This spring, the Arlington Heights Council of PTAs held our scholarship fundraiser, Pack the Piggies. The fundraiser helps support our scholarship fund to provide 10 high school seniors who are a part of District 25 for at least 3 years with a $1,500 college scholarship. We set an all-district goal of $1 per student and so far have successfully raised $2,800. There are a few schools that have their fundraiser scheduled for later this month, so our total is not yet final. We are beyond thankful for all of the support we receive from the District 25 families, students, and administration. We couldn't have done it without your enthusiasm and encouragement. Special thanks to AHC's fundraising chair, Jody Schaff, for facilitating this fundraiser again this year. We look forward to honoring the AHC PTA Scholarship Award winners at our scholarship breakfast on Friday, April 25th. Thank you." So that was from the Council of PTAs. And now I'm going to look to Gina one last time as our board member reporting about ABC 25.
Thank you, Mr. President. So ABC 25 had an incredibly successful fundraiser this year at Topgolf. We have much appreciation and gratitude to everybody that came out, all of our sponsors, the community, all of the teachers, where's my friend Allison, all of the teachers that participated as well. And Adam has a video for this as well. Oh, he's still taking pictures. Okay, so that gets me, you guys are stuck with me talking longer than. You got a video, right? Yes. Thank you.
What a beautiful sight as we drove in for the first ever ABC 25 Topgolf fundraiser that was held earlier this month. District 25 and ABC 25 supporters filled the golf bays with vibes, swings, food, and drink. It was a beautiful sunny day. Check out this hack. Boom. And for those not down to swing, there of course was food. ABC 25 is a major support to our teachers and staff and students. Grants and projects, all proceeds from the day, including the silent auction, went to support ABC 25. Thank you to all the sponsors that helped make this day possible.
Oh, Topgolf is great. We have a hype DJ. We've got free appetizers that come with your tickets and your bay. We've got golf. We've got all different generations. It's family friendly. We've got people with their friends having fun. It's a beautiful afternoon, and we're just really excited to be here.
If you missed it this year, mark your calendars for next year. Thanks for watching, and thank you to ABC 25 for the support of District 25. Bye.
So what I will offer is that this was exponentially easier to execute, significantly more fun had by all than our traditional race or even our fun fair, and we raised significantly more money. So thank you to everybody from the silent auction. I hope everybody enjoyed their prizes, and I appreciate everybody that came out. Every penny ABC 25 raises goes directly back to our educators and our staff and our admins that submit grants to be able to use it to try new things in the classroom and really be creative and show their innovation. So the money really does go to good use. And so as my passion, I will be back. I will be sitting out there and reporting in for ABC 25 going forward. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Gina. Now we're going to welcome Allison Berg up to the microphone. Allison, we're looking forward to your monthly update from the ATA.
So early for me. Hi, everybody. News from oh, I don't have a clicker. Oh, you're the best. Thank you. All right, good evening. Before I begin, I just wanted to say thank you to our outgoing board members. On behalf of the Arlington Teachers Association, we thank you for your hard work and dedication that you have given to District 25. And we also want to welcome our new board members being sworn in this evening. We look forward to working collaboratively with the board, as always, to continue to make District 25 the amazing place that it is. So thank you. Thank you for allowing me a minute to report about all the great things going on around the district. Teachers have been hard at work with IAR and MAP testing this month, but in between, we are managing to keep the students engaged and learning. Fitness testing is in full swing. There they are. The students at Windsor have been putting forth their best efforts. Check out some of the images from the Pacer Aerobics Capacity Test and the Curl Up Muscular Endurance Test in action. That thing is no joke. I walked by, it was like, sit up, sit up. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is so stressful. But the kids really enjoy it. Would not be for me, but for the kids, they love it. All right. Dryden had their very first cucumber harvest. They are the first school to grow cucumbers. Patton is currently growing tomatoes. Fourth graders are busy learning geography about national parks and practicing their map skills, their coding skills, and their math skills all at once. These pictures show that the students are working to assemble U.S. maps and then code their mini Spiros to travel to 5 national parks using angles and decimals. So there's a picture of them hard at work, coding and using all their skills at once, which is super fun. They also have, pretty cool, a Swiftie club over at Dryden. They have been busy having fun as well, and you can see some pictures of students hard at work in the Taylor Swift Club. There they are. Probably would like to join it. Moving on, here is a picture of the Wall of Remembrance at South Middle School. Students wrote poetry with messages of hope, strength, and perseverance as part of their Holocaust memoir unit to honor the victims, survivors, and helpers that they learned about. The Metropolis School of Performing Arts came to visit Windsor, the kindergartners at Windsor on Monday, April 14th. Miss Megan and Miss Lindy led the students in some warm-ups and read Giraffes Can't Dance, emphasizing how Gerald the giraffe was unique. Students learned a variety of dances, the waltz, tango, and cha-cha. They became Gerald and learned to express themselves uniquely as they danced throughout the story. I happened to walk through the commons, and it looked like a lot of fun. And there's some of our kindergartners dancing. Westgate's PTA held their Celebrating Arts earlier this month. Attached are some photos of the decorations that included work from the 4th and 5th grade art club. They also turned one of their rooms into a glow room, and here's some pictures of that. I have to say that the kindergarten through 5th grade teachers were just at Westgate for Institute SIP Day on Monday. It looks amazing. We were all walking through the halls like, wow. The art club did an amazing job, and like the whole school is decked out in this like underwater sea theme. So it's actually very cool. If you have a chance to check out Westgate, you should go. Very, very talented artists over there. Let's see. Now I forgot what, oh yes. Also at Westgate, they celebrated the Wolverine artists, musicians at an open house style gallery also at Westgate. Again, they displayed the artwork of the amazing 4th and 5th grade art club, and students participated. Also, the artwork from the students who participated in the Reflections Art Contest, and there were also performances by Westgate's 5th grade band and the Music for Youth students. This picture is from Greenbrier. They just had their cultural fair, and here are some pictures of students and families enjoying that event. So some kids playing with tops, and here's some other students from all the different countries represented there. A couple others from their cultural fair, multicultural fair, which is awesome. One more. And then finally, the ATA is hosting a blood drive for the second year in a row. It will be held here at Dunton on May 5th from 2 to 6. You can use that QR code if you wanted to take a picture of it right this very second while it was up there. Otherwise, you can ask me and I can forward the flyer to you or Brian, Kate. Lots of us have it. We crushed our goal last year, so we're hoping to have a repeat this year. Donating blood saves lives, and we're happy to host that here in the district. So that is all the news for right now. Thank you. You guys have a big meeting, so thank you for giving me a few minutes to share. Have a good night. Thanks.
Thank you, Allison. Next on the agenda is the acceptance of Canvas election results from the April 1st consolidated election. Can I have a motion, please?
Mr. President,
Yes, Kevin.
I recommend that the Board of Education adopt the resolution Canvas of election results.
Thank you, Kevin. And a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Gina. Lana, if you would please call the vote. Read the resolution? Let's do that. Kevin, if you wouldn't mind? Oh. Do you have it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Anisha.
Okay. I recommend that the Board of Education adopt the resolution canvas of election results. Oh, the actual resolution. Yeah, it's not pulling up.
Okay, I have it in front of me. Okay, Gina.
Oh, now yeah, okay. Yeah, it took a while.
Okay. Read the first paragraph. We'll do it round robin. There we go. All right. Village of Arlington Heights, April 22nd, 2025. Be it, and it is hereby resolved by the Board of Education of School District 25, Cook County, Illinois, that the attached abstract of votes of the election held on April 1st, 2025 to elect 4 members for full 4-year terms to said Board of Education is a true and correct canvass of the certificate of results of each precinct thereof as submitted to the board by the election authority, the Cook County Clerk. Be it further resolved that said abstract of votes shall be signed by each member of this Board of Education. That it is hereby found and determined that Deborah Tranter, Greg Scapalato, Melissa Buckberger, and Anisha Ismail Jogi received the highest number of votes cast for the 4 full this is a mouthful, the 4 full 4-year terms, and each has been elected a member of the Board of Education of Arlington Heights School District 25.
Thank you, Kevin. All right, I think we're ready now. Thank you, Lana, for keeping us on track.
Neerman,
Yes.
Jogi,
Yes.
Scapalato,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Cerniglia,
Yes.
and for the last time, Faso,
Yes.
Olenichek.
Thank you, Lana. The motion carries 7-0. Well, we've set aside the next portion of tonight's agenda to recognize our 2 members transitioning off the board, Gina Faso and Rich Olenichek. So if you give us a second, we have one more transition. Dr. K and I are going to move out front, and we'll get started. Check. All right. Well, serving on the school board is a volunteer position and requires members to engage in a wide variety of topics. Over the years, our board has grappled with health and safety, educational equity, long-term facility planning, curricular issues, and so much more. During their time on the District 25 board, both Rich and Gina have been champions for our students and families and have made an impact through their service. They've helped this board and school district navigate some of the most daunting challenges any board can face: a pandemic, a referendum, hiring a new superintendent, and maintaining the high-quality education our community expects. We've collected our thoughts from the board colleagues and myself, and Dr. Kay has some words we're going to share. So we'd like to bring Gina, Gina, if you could come up first. Yeah.
Thank you, President Scapalato. Gina, it's an honor to be here to recognize you this evening. I'd like to recognize you for your outstanding service and lasting contributions to District 25 Board of Education. Your unwavering advocacy for students, teachers, and families has truly made a difference in our district. Your deep understanding of educational priorities, paired with your compassionate, thoughtful leadership, has helped shape initiatives that promote academic excellence and foster a more inclusive school community. You've been a champion of collaboration and a strong advocate for connecting schools with families. That work has helped strengthen the bonds between our school district and the communities we serve. Gina, your passion for education and your dedication to every student in District 25 has been both inspiring and impactful. You lead with heart, with wisdom, and with a clear focus on what's right. And that has left a lasting mark on all of us. Thank you for your 4 years, for your years of service, and for being such a positive force in our community. I don't know if you know how many board meetings you've been a part of, but after 91 Board of Education meetings, we are grateful for all that you've done and wish you the very best in whatever comes next. As a small token of appreciation, your official name can now go with you. Congratulations. We have some other gifts later, but congratulations.
We're not done yet. We've got a few more. So you're not done yet, Gina. Stay right there. So these are your colleagues. We put together our thoughts, and here's what we wanted to share. So Gina, we know you joined the board in November 2020 by appointment, and then was elected to a full term in April 2021. You have an incredible talent for looking at things from all sides. You see the whole picture and bring clarity to every discussion. Your business sense and attention to detail, particularly with the legal and financial aspects of our work, have helped us anticipate and avoid problems and make us a more effective board. You blend a sharp business mind and corporate insight with the warm, caring heart of a parent, which is a rare and special combination. For the board, you've been a voice of reason, reminding us of our obligations to our students and our community. And you stepped up at a critical time, never shying away from the work, hard work, or tough conversations. More than anything, Gina, your colleagues recognize you as an astute, caring, brave, and service-oriented person. Your dedication to our schools, students, and teachers is clear in your board service and through ABC 25. Your marketing, fundraising, and innovative ideas have made a real difference. You really, truly show up for our kids and our community. Thank you for your dedication, your hard work, and passion. Thank you for everything you've done for District 25. You will be missed. What's that? No music. And I think Dr. Kay has something to present.
You have so much free time. You go enjoy a picnic with your family. And I don't know where you could keep this, possibly right next to your desk, but it's a nice gift, a gift of distinguished service for Gina Faso, the Board of Education here in Arlington Heights. Congratulations.
Rich, we're ready to welcome you up here.
Rich, I'd like to take this moment to recognize you for your years of dedicated service to District 25 Board of Education. Your leadership and commitment have played a vital role in shaping policies that truly prioritize student success and staff support. Your thoughtful approach to decision-making, along with your commitment to transparency, has helped build and strengthen trust between the board, our schools, and the broader community. You have a unique ability to ask insightful questions and challenge the status quo in a way that drives meaningful progress. Your steady presence and thoughtful leadership have left a lasting impact here in District 25. Your focus has always remained on what truly matters, our students. Your voice around this table has been an important one, and your contributions have not gone unnoticed. Do you know how many board meetings you've attended? 189 Board of Education meetings. We thank you for your tireless service and wish you all the best in your next chapter as well. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know you really want this as well. Congratulations. I hope so.
Well, again, we have some thoughts from all your colleagues, and you're going to hear some themes here, just like we did with Gina. So, Rich, we know you joined the board in 2013 and won re-election in 2017 and 2021, now completing your 12th year of service. Rich, you've brought so much to our district and our board. Your ability to think outside the box, coupled with your sharp analytical lens, has been invaluable. You've come to every meeting thoughtfully prepared, setting a standard of readiness for us all. Your insightful questions, those tough questions you're so good at asking, have always pushed us to consider all angles and make the best decisions for our students. We've all benefited from your experience and tenure. You've been generous in sharing your wisdom with new board members, helping to guide them and ensure smooth transitions. Throughout your 3 terms, your attention to what's best for our students has remained steadfast and laser-focused. Your great mind for business and numbers has also been a true asset for us. We've learned so much from you about interpreting data and asking the right questions to ensure our students get the best possible education. Your dedication to District 25, even after your daughter graduated from the district, speaks volumes about your commitment to our community. Thank you, Rich. Thank you for your dedication, insightful contributions, and unwavering commitment to our students and community. We wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Thank you. Thank you.
I hear there's a beach nearby in your picture, so I didn't put this to good use, and we hope this also is put to good use, again, recognizing your distinguished service. Thank you, Richard.
For Rich and Gina, one more time, please.
One last time, congratulations.
The next portion of our meeting is when the board will reorganize, which involves assigning officers for the next year, and in odd numbers years like this one, swearing in board members elected in the recent consolidated election. Tonight, we will start by swearing in 2 new board members, Melissa Buckberger and Deb Tranter, as well as continuing board members, Dr. Anisha Jogi and myself. Thank you to the families, friends, and community members who have joined us tonight for this moment. In Illinois, the school board oath signifies a commitment to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the state of Illinois, and to faithfully discharge the duties of a school board member. The oath is a requirement for all school board members in Illinois, ensuring they understand and uphold the legal framework within which they operate. In its own way, the oath is an instruction manual describing what a school board member will do and how they should do it. Each of us will recite the oath, and then we'll have an opportunity for a personal statement, if so desired. So we'll start with Melissa. If you could step forward, please. And the oath is right here, and when you're ready, go ahead and read it out loud.
Thank you. I, Melissa, Buchberger, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of Arlington Heights School District 25, in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois, to the best of my ability. I further swear that I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets. I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board, while respecting the privacy of students and employees. I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can only be made by a majority vote at a public board meeting. I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels. As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district. I shall foster with the board extensive participation of the community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course of Arlington Heights School District 25. I shall assist in establishing a structure and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law. I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students in our community schools to advance the vision of Arlington Heights School District 25. And I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development. Thank you. Thank you so much. I just wanted to say thank you to my wonderful family, my kiddos, Jacob and Elise, for your support, my wonderful friends who canvassed with me, love you, and everyone in the community who has given their support. Thank you so much, and I look forward to serving with the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Dr. Jogi, it's your turn. Please come on forward. And when you're ready, please read the oath aloud.
Okay. Thanks so much. I, Anisha Jogi, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of Arlington Heights School District 25 in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability. I further swear that I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets. I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board while respecting the privacy of students and employees. I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting. I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels. As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district. I shall foster with the board extensive participation of the community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Arlington Heights School District 25. I shall assist in establishing a structure and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law. I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students and our community schools to advance the vision for Arlington Heights School District 25. And I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development. Thank you so much, Mr. President, and my board colleagues. That was my third time reading it, and I should have memorized it by now. But it's been truly an honor of my life to serve on our school board for the last 8 years. Getting involved in such a meaningful way has truly created a sense of belonging for my family and I. They're right here, and they're gonna be like, okay, no crying today. Making Arlington Heights home and a place I care for so deeply. I'm truly so proud of our board and all the hard work and heart each member has put in over the years. I'm so excited that my former board colleagues are here too. They were here earlier, so it's so nice to see them. I want to thank Gina and Rich as they complete their tenure on the board. It has been meaningful to serve alongside you and know that this is not a goodbye. I'm just a phone call away, so we'll be bugging them wherever they've gone. They've already gone having picnic already. I also want to welcome Deb and Melissa and look forward to growing and giving together as a team of 8. As I have always said on my time on this board, a team that learns together leads together. And it's going to be impactful to continue to cohesively serve with each one of my dedicated board colleagues and our exceptional superintendent, Dr. Brian Kay. As I begin my 3rd term, I want to thank you truly from the bottom of my heart, the nearly 6,000 students in our district. You are my why. Our incredible staff of over 800, your dedication makes D25 so special. And the ones who are here with us every board meeting, and yes, we count the board, the board meetings for the folks who've left, but you're here every single board meeting for years and years, and so we so appreciate it. And the entire Arlington Heights community for the continued trust you've placed in me. I do not take this responsibility lightly. Today, I also have a very special guest in the audience. My mom is here. So without her, I would literally not be standing here today. And I'm so grateful for her. And an extra special thank you to my mom because this is the eve of her birthday. So cake tomorrow for us. I am also super grateful for my children, Alia, Samara, Alina, and Khalil, as they've been very much part of my board journey. They have been watching and learning, and each of them have been giving back to society in their own impactful ways, and I'm so very proud of them. Last but definitely not least, I want to thank my dearest husband, Saj Patel. And I want to tell you he is my toughest constituent and holds me to the highest public service standards, and he is my biggest supporter. So when I met him nearly 25 years ago, I'm sure he had no idea that we would be doing multiple school board runs. So I'm glad that he's stuck by me all these years and through all these school board races. It surely takes a village, and I can't wait to continue to serve our wonderful District 25 community together. Thank you so very much. Now I have the distinct pleasure of, when you're ready, President, your oath of office.
I, Greg Scapolato, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of Arlington Heights School District 25, in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability. I further swear that I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as faithful protector of the school district's assets. I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board, while respecting the privacy of students and employees. I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting. I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels. As a part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district. I shall foster with the board extensive participation of the community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Arlington Heights School District 25. I shall assist in establishing a culture and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement in all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law. I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students and our community schools to advance the vision for Arlington Heights School District 25. And I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district toward fulfilling the vision the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development. Well, for my comments, briefly, I want to express gratitude. Of course, first of all, I'm grateful to my family for their support. I could not do this without them, believe me. I'm grateful to the voters for their affirmation of the work done in my first term and their support for my second term. And I'm grateful to my fellow board members, the current members and past, to Dr. K, our administrators, teachers, families, and most importantly, for the students of District 25. You've all taught me so much, and I'm excited about the future of our district. There's a quote I heard recently about public service, and I'm going to paraphrase it and rework it to fit this situation. It goes like this. You'll see, the quote begins, you'll see the applause will die away, and a lot faster than you think. So you better like the job. And this job is a privilege. We have the opportunity here at the board table to give our best because that means something to a few people and sometimes to a lot of people. And to be able to do so in service of this community, that's the privilege. Thank you for the opportunity and honor to serve our community, to serve all of you. Thank you. Deb, if you could please come forward. And when you're ready, please read the oath aloud.
All right. I, Deb Tranter, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the member of the Board of Education of Arlington Heights School District 25, in accordance with the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability. I further swear that I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets. I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board while respecting the privacy of students and employees. I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting. I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels. As part of the Board of Education, I shall accept the responsibility for my role in the equitable and quality education of every student in the school district. I shall foster with the board extensive participation of the community, formulate goals, define outcomes, and set the course for Arlington Heights School District 25. I shall assist in establishing a structure and an environment designed to ensure all students have the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. I shall strive to ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement and all conditions affecting the education of our children in compliance with state law. I shall serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students and our community's schools to advance the vision of Arlington Heights School District 25. And I shall strive to work together with the district superintendent to lead the school district towards fulfilling the vision the board has created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development. So just very quick, lastly, I would like to express my deepest, sincerest gratitude to my family, my husband, my children, and my friends who I could not be here without, the support of work colleagues who are extraordinary, and community members who have been sensational, as well as my daughter's best friends who continue to support me as additional daughters in my life. While I embark on this next chapter, my goal is the same as our strategic plan. Cultivate a personalized environment of excellence that prepares every learner every day for a better tomorrow. And I am beyond excited to be working with the extraordinary Dr. Brian Kay.
Thank you, Deb. Well, welcome to Deb and Melissa, and congratulations to Dr. Jogi. So, families and friends, you are certainly welcome to stay, but please know you are free to depart at any time. We're going to continue with the rest of our meeting, but thank you for being here for this moment. We're going to continue with the board organization, and the next step is to appoint a president pro tem to continue the process. Before I ask for nominations, I move to appoint Kevin Michael to serve as president pro tem. Are there any other? Thank you. Before we do that, with the new board seated, Ms. O'Brien, would you please call the roll?
Our tech is not working today. Buchberger, and I think I'm saying that wrong, and I apologize.
No worries, yes, it's Buchberger, like boo.
Buchberg.
Like scarecrows, yeah. Thank you, here.
Tranter,
Here.
Neerman,
Here.
Jogi,
Here.
Scapalato,
Here?
Michael,
Here?
Cerniglia.
Still here.
Thank you, Lana. So as I said, we are going to appoint a president pro tem, and I made a motion to appoint Kevin. Are there any other nominations? So seeing none, no additional nominations. Nominations are closed, and Kevin Michael will serve as our president pro tem.
Thank you, Mr. President. Do I get to hold the gavel? No? Okay, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Next, we will appoint a secretary pro tem. Are there any nominations?
Yes, oh, sorry. I nominate Brian Cerniglia as Secretary Pro Tem.
Are there, we have a nomination of Brian Cerniglia. Are there any other nominations? I'm seeing none. If there are no other nominations, nominations are closed, and Brian Cerniglia will serve as the Secretary Pro Tem. We will now elect officers of the board, including President, Vice President, and Secretary. Additionally, we will appoint a recording secretary. Following the guidelines of the Illinois Association of School Boards, if only one member is nominated for president, the president pro tem may cast a unanimous ballot and declare that candidate elected. If two or more members are nominated for the office of president, a roll call voice vote is necessary. The member receiving a majority of the votes cast is elected. Once elected, the board president presides over the meeting as the board proceeds to elect its vice president and secretary using the same nomination and voting process that the board used to elect the president. I would like at this time to nominate Greg Scapalato to continue for another term as president. Are there any more nominations? All right, if there are no additional nominations, nominations are now closed, and a unanimous ballot is cast, and Greg Scapalato will serve as president of the Board of Education for a one-year term commencing today. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Kevin. We will now need to appoint a vice president. Are there nominations for the office of vice president?
Mr. President.
Yes, Liz.
I move to appoint Anisha Jogi as vice president for a one-year term commencing today, April 22nd, 2025.
Thank you, Liz. Are there any other nominations? Okay, seeing none, there are no additional, so nominations are closed. A unanimous ballot is cast, and Dr. Anisha Jogi will serve as vice president of the Board of Education for a one-year term commencing today. Congratulations, Anisha. The next step is for the board to appoint a secretary. Before I ask for nominations, I move to appoint Kevin Michael as secretary for a one-year term commencing today, April 22nd, 2025. Are there any additional nominations? And seeing none, the nominations are closed. A unanimous ballot is cast, and Kevin Michael will serve as secretary of the Board of Education for a one-year term commencing today. Congratulations, Kevin. And finally, the board will appoint a recording secretary. This is the role that Ms. Lana O'Brien has typically fulfilled for the board. Are there any nominations for the office of recording secretary?
Mr. President.
Yes, Kevin.
I would like to nominate Lana O'Brien to continue as recording secretary.
Thank you, Kevin. Are there any additional nominations? And seeing none, nominations are closed. A unanimous ballot is cast, and Ms. Lana O'Brien will serve as recording secretary of the Board of Education for a one-year term commencing today. Thank you, Lana, for continuing. We have two more items under organization. The next is to set meeting dates and times for the next year's board meetings. This is an action item. Can I have a motion, please?
Mr. President,
Yes, Kevin.
I recommend that the Board of Education approve the school board meeting dates, times, and locations for 2025-2026 as presented.
Thank you, Kevin. And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Anisha. So before we go to a vote, I just want to give the board members an opportunity. I think we've had this on the agenda the last 2 months. So are there any questions or dates of concern that we need to consider moving before we go to a vote? Okay, so looks like we are ready to go forward. So Lana, when you're ready, if you could please call the vote.
Neerman? Yes. Jogi?
Yes.
Scapalato?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Cerniglia?
Yes.
Buchberg?
Yes.
Tranter?
Yes.
Thank you, Lana. The motion carries 7-0. And the final step in our board organization is appointing treasurer and assistant treasurers. This is an action item. Can I have a motion, please?
Mr. President,
Yes, Kevin.
I recommend that the Board of Education adopt the resolution appointing the treasurer and assistant treasurers of the school district and the bank depositories for the period July 1, 2025 through July 1, 2027.
Thank you, Kevin. A second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Anisha. So before we go to a vote, it is a procedural thing. Stacy, I apologize, I didn't warn you I was going to ask this up front, but could you remind the board of, we do this every other year at the same time when we have elections. Could you remind us again how this works?
So we are part of a treasury that is serviced, run out of District 214. A number of feeder districts are part of that treasury. And we determine the bank depositories through that treasury as well, so that we're all using the same banks, so that this resolution is worked together by all of us, all the districts participating, and we do bring this back to the board every 2 years. For returning board members, you'll notice we used to put the actual names of the District 214 individuals in here, but they've had some turnover over the last couple years that has caused us to just put the titles. So whoever District 214 appoints as their treasurer and assistant treasurer will be the same for us. So we remove the titles so that if there is turnover, we don't have to continually bring it back.
Great. Thank you, Stacy, for explaining what's behind the motion. Any questions from board members? Okay, Lana, when you're ready, please call the vote.
Jogi?
Yes.
Scapalato?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Cerniglia?
Yes.
Buchberg?
Yes.
Tranter?
Yes.
Neerman?
Yes.
Thank you, Lana. The motion carries 7-0. And that completes the board organization portion of tonight's agenda. We're going to resume with the agenda items on our regular business meeting. And that would take us to board communications. We begin this section with board member updates. This is an opportunity for board members to share any events or other things that they've been a part of in District 25 between now and the previous board meeting. So anyone have any updates for us today?
Mr. President, I have a couple of updates.
Yeah, please go ahead, Nisha.
This time of the year is always a fun, busy time. When Gina was here talking about the golf outing, I didn't get a chance to say I got to see Dr. K has a really good swing, so that has to be on record now. So that was great. It was a wonderful event to be at, and such great weather that day too. So I really appreciated being there, and a huge thanks to everybody who put that event together. I also had an opportunity to visit a couple of schools, and I wanted to give a couple of shouts out. You know, I've been to a few, and I reported on those last time. And in the last few weeks, I went to see Ivy Hill, Windsor, and Patton, and I just wanted to highlight some things I observed when I was at those schools. First of all, Ivy Hill, I learned so much from Scott, he was here earlier. One of our most diverse schools up in the north end of Arlington Heights, and I was especially moved by the incredible work happening within the multilingual program, which now supports students from more than 40 language backgrounds, I learned. And I continue to reflect, right when you walk into Ivy Hill or any of the schools we've been visiting as a board, I continue to reflect on the critical role that the front office staff plays in creating the welcoming, well-functioning environment that also makes Ivy Hill such a special place. So a huge kudos to the front office staff in each of our buildings, because that role is so important, because that's the first person folks see when they walk into our schools. I thought that was really, I really want to give a kudos to them. I also had an opportunity to go to Windsor and observe the instructional services program. Now, as board members, we hear about these great programs, but it was so great to be in the building, seeing these programs, and just a little bit of what I observed. So, you know, I appreciated seeing firsthand how the Windsor team provides individualized care to nearly 50 students and growing in such a robust and enriching environment. It was so insightful to see. And so the collaboration that happened between so many staff members and specialized staff members, you know, speech and language, therapy, social work, occupational and physical therapy, that was really great to see. And then, of course, we know as a school district, we always hear about how one of our goals is to make sure that every student is connected to an adult in the building. Now, at Windsor, and Melissa knows she's part of the Windsor community, I was so impressed with the Windsor Dens program, they call it, and its intentional focus on ensuring that each student builds a relationship with a trusted adult. So it was so great to hear from the principal talking about this program and seeing it in person on the ground at Windsor. And lastly, I was at Patton, you know, the Scapolito school, you know, where little Joey goes. The Patton School, I got to observe the extracurricular activities, and I was really impressed by the individuality in the art class and Mr. Whitaker's music class and, you know, the PE class and Ms. Hemmer's LMC class. And we got to see the Battle of the Books program from the middle school here, but that all starts at the elementary buildings of how they're cultivating the love of reading and so forth. So I really appreciate having, you know, being on the ground, seeing everything that's happening in our school. So I wanted to report back. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Anisha. Any other comments?
Mr. President?
Yes, Deb.
That was fun. I am really excited. I wanted to share just a few district moments that I had the privilege of enjoying recently with the community. To begin with, having the pleasure to have participated in and watched a 5th grade music program at Olive and a 4th grade dress rehearsal music program at Patton, and being reminded of how extraordinary our district music teachers are and how involved they are with just the vested interest of the students and what incredible performances they put on was just a thrill to see. And second, I had the pleasure of participating in a 5th grade World of Work field trip, and it's a combination of the PTA and the community members and the area businesses and the 5th grade teachers, and it takes such great involvement of teachers, community members, and PTA members working together to give this memorable opportunity to the 5th grade students and to allow them an opportunity to participate for the day in jobs they might be interested in. And in the past, I've even had 5th grade students who come back and say, I remember World of Work, I got to go to the fire department, and that's when I put it in my mind. When I was older, I wanted to be a firefighter, and now I am. So they'll pursue those careers. Some may not be as interested in what they're doing as a long-term career, but they enjoy the day and get to know the community better. So I'm really proud of the parents, the PTA, the teachers, as they kind of put that forth. And lastly, just super excited to share, I had this opportunity to walk temporarily in the shoes of one of our new positions, and that's the instructional coaches in the district, and got to know the 9 individuals that our district hired that are exceptional, extraordinary, so vested in every student, in every 9 of the buildings, in every grade level, and making sure that our students meet the standards and that our teachers have an opportunity to lean on someone if they're struggling in an area. So as a new board member and a community member, thrilled that we've added this position to the district. So thank you, Dr. K, for bringing those individuals in. and so impressed with the work that they do.
Thank you, Deb. Any other updates? Okay, well, thank you for those, and we'll continue on. We're at the Ed Red portion, so Kevin, we'll turn to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. So there's a lot to share in the world of Ed Red. So I attended virtually the April Ed Red meeting on April 4th. I believe that President Scapoletto also virtually attended that meeting. And Representative Michelle Mussman was the guest speaker at that particular meeting, and she shared a little bit about some bills that she's currently working on that relate to public education. She mentioned there's one that she's putting forward to make IEPs a less cumbersome process for parents and for educators. One that involves legislation involving homeless students, and legislation to support students in the deaf and hard of hearing community. She also was there to answer questions about a bill that was recently put forward about waivers, and I know that my fellow board members have received a lot of emails for advocacy around that bill. She did answer a few questions, but I also do want to share an update that that bill did not receive a floor vote before the deadline, so it has gone back to committee. And Ed Red did send out a message thanking all of the board members, administrators, people in the community who submitted, what is the term I'm trying to think of? Witness slips, thank you. Witness slips about that because that definitely had a big influence on the decision not to bring that bill forward. Yes.
Before you continue, I just want to add a few more points to the witness slips.
Sure.
There were 2,800 submitted, so that's quite a few. And the other piece about the waivers, so just to clarify, it was about waivers that schools were using to reduce the amount of PE they have, but it was unclear if it would impact waivers that students use at the high school level when they are in marching band or interscholastic sports so that they can have a study hall. And so without that clarity, there was a lot of concern over it would impact that. And while that's not directly us, we absolutely have students that utilize that when they move to 214. So it was a welcome news that it went back to committee, because hopefully then there'd be further conversations about that bill language. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Bridget Peach, after Representative Mussman was finished speaking and fielding questions, Bridget Peach shared legislative updates of what she refers to as the hot bills that Ed Red tracks. The first one was the aforementioned waiver bill, but since that one is currently back to committee, I'm not going to go into further detail on that. A couple others, SB 2427, which is prohibiting use of cell phones in schools, that did pass out of committee and will be moving to the House for a vote in the near future. And I do know, based on what I've read and heard, that Governor Pritzker is a strong supporter of that bill, so it will likely be signed if the House passes it. A couple others. Apologize, my notes refreshed, so I've got things in a little bit of a different order. Actually, I'm gonna move on to, I think Dr. Jogi wants to share a little bit about her recent trip to Springfield, and that is an Ed Red event as well, so I'm gonna let her share about that, and then we'll move on to Stacy if she's got anything that she wants to add in.
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, it was a true honor to attend Ed Red Legislative Days in Springfield, and District 25 was invited to this event, and I was honored to represent our board along with Dr. Brian Kay. We were there on April 8th and 9th, and thank you to Ed Red. They organized and hosted us so graciously, so we really appreciate it. It was truly so interesting to see the process by which our laws are made. We had the opportunity to see the floor debates. We saw Representative Nicole Grasky in action, Representative Mary Beth Canty, State Senator Mark Walker, and many education hearings, the ones that Kevin mentioned today, the PE waivers. We were live there in action. So usually we hear this theoretically on paper, but just being there and realizing how important those witness slips are, like they actually call out, oh, this many opponents, this many proponents. So it was really great to see this in person. We also got to see House Bill 1237, the discussion on it around Native American naming. And then a big one was House Bill 2827 on the Homeschooling Act. And the chair of that committee was Michelle Mussman, and did a great job facilitating a very lengthy and robust conversation around homeschooling, and that was great to see that. While we were there, there were colleagues from all around the neighboring areas as well, so we got to tour a little bit of Springfield and got to see a naturalization ceremony at the old Capitol building, which was interesting and touching to see. This trip truly underscored for me that our state elected officials are working hard to represent us, and showed how important it is that we have strong collaboration as school board members with our state official. And I'm truly grateful for the strong relationships that each of us have with our, and our superintendent with our officials, to the point that we're grateful that Senator Mark Walker actually attended our board meeting earlier today. So yes, witness slips do matter. And also it showed me firsthand the robust advocacy efforts EdRed does on behalf of us, and the Illinois Association of School Boards and ISB conducts on behalf of school boards and districts. They were up there. The general counsel was up there at the table for all of these bills. So just seeing their work in action for our school districts was great to see. After, on our way home, we were invited to tour the Illinois Association of School Boards headquarters, which is in Springfield. So that was nice to go there. We got to meet with the staff. It's a really, I never imagined that. We always see them at conferences, but of course they have a home at headquarters, and it's a rather large building and a big organization. And we in Illinois are super lucky because in different states, they don't have what we should be very grateful for the large association we have and the number of staff in that building working on behalf of us. So a huge thanks to ISB Executive Director Kimberly Small for that invitation and that tour. So a great trip, and thank you, Dr. Brian Kay, for accompanying us.
Thank you, Anisha. And then Stacy, if there's anything that you would like to share. While Anisha was sharing, I was able to find the part of my notes that I had been unable to find a moment ago. So a couple other quick things. This is from a recent IASB legislative update. These are just a few bills that recently moved forward either in the House or in the Senate. House Bill 2960 provides that if a district offers health education, those classes must include instruction on mental health as well as physical health. House Bill 3772 bans the use of expulsion as a consequence for students in grades K through 2 and requires the district superintendent to approve all suspensions for grades K through 2 for 3 or more days. So those bills both will move to the Senate. And then Senate Bills 28, which removes the requirement that student growth be used as a significant factor in educator and principal evaluations. And Senate Bill 2427, which requires school districts to adopt a policy that prohibits student use of cell phones, which we already talked about. Those are moving on to the House. So those are just some other bills of note that we will be keeping an eye on moving forward.
Thank you, Kevin, and Stacy, and Anisha. We appreciate it. And now we're going to go to the IASB report. And of course, Anisha, this is the one you lead, but I think you have some COSBA news as well, right?
Yeah. Like I said, busy times at the end of the year. I'm hoping the next meeting I'll be zipped, not talking a lot. But we had the honor of attending the COSBA conference. So Kevin, Dr. Kay, and I attended this conference in March, and it was really meaningful. And I know Adam has a slideshow for us. Thank you. Okay, it's bigger on that screen. Thank you, Adam. You know, when we go to these conferences, like I said before, right, our board really emphasizes learning together. So, you know, a board that learns together, leads together, and when we go to these conferences, just a wealth of information. So I'm so excited for Melissa and Deb to be joining us at these events as well. So maybe we'll show the video first. Adam, how's that? so much. So definitely a lot of learning goes into these conferences. So at the end of the night, we are asleep because we've learned so much all day long. Lots and lots of great sessions. And Kevin and I are going to talk about some of the sessions we're attended. We're going to piggyback. So the ones that Kevin talks about, I'll try not to jump in those. But a huge focus, one of the sessions, there were many sessions on student board members. So I want to go into that one to begin with. So the student reps on the school board is a movement that's going around across the country. And they are so organized, and I really encourage you folks, anybody who's interested, to go to nsbma.net, which is the National School Board Members Association.net. And this is a student-run advocacy and the youth voice, and I follow them on social media now, and they just announced the launch of their strategic plan. And so these are really active student board members. And in districts like ours, K-8 districts, it would be our middle school students who would be serving. But a lot goes into that decision before we would launch something like that, because we want to make sure, and Dr. K has attended, we did an all-day workshop, Dr. K and I, at Illinois Association of School Board conferences in November, where we did a whole day workshop. And a lot of thought goes into making sure that when we decide to have this, and as we move forward in researching this topic, a lot of research has to go into it, that the student board members feel it's very purposeful. They're here for a reason. They're not just token student board members. Their youth voice is totally enhanced and elevated. So we want to continue to do the research in this. So at this point, we've done quite a bit of research. It was great to attend a session by Mount Prospect District 57, which is right next door to us. They have student board members already at their table. So we're talking to a lot of boards who are doing this and who are doing this well, to make sure that if we so decide, and when our board decides, hey, this is a good move for us, that we're going in eyes wide open and having great research. So we're cultivating our student board members and their leadership skills. Another session that I had attended, it's about the Lighthouse research. I am very interested, like each of my board colleagues, about highly effective school boards. And this hour-long session was about just looking at exemplary school boards across the country. And this one was also done launched by the Iowa State Board of Association, their school board association. And one of them, there's 5 of them, and I'll tell you, Kevin and I have taken all our notes, all the PowerPoints that we got from that conference, and we have a shared view document of them that you already have access to view. So we're going to jump in very briefly today, but you can go in more depth if you want any questions. Of course, you can ask Kevin and I about it. But I was really excited because one of the things that makes a board effective is that boards that learn together lead together. They had it phrased differently. I gave it my own little flavor. So that was definitely part of it. Kevin will talk about a seminar that we both attended called Hot Button Law Issues. And it was so inspiring. We got to hear the Teacher of the Year, Missy Testerman, and she was phenomenal, lots of energy. Every time I hear teachers who are up there as keynote speakers on the stage, just so much energy, so much motivation and inspiration. And the one thing she said that left me thinking about this is that public education is a dignity creator, which I've never quite heard it explained that way. And so when we talk about everything that's important to make sure every child is taken care of in our care, in our district, I think that statement speaks so loudly to me. We also got to hear Layla Ali. Yes, Layla Ali, the boxer, was there. And she spoke a lot of motivational, talking about resilient leadership and mindset, and just having that. And I think especially boards who've gone through a lot of different topics, like Greg was talking about earlier, right? Our board has dealt with COVID and referendums and all these complex issues that we're problem solving. I believe, and Layla Ali believes, that when we're going through this resilient kind of these hot topics, they make our board stronger. And I can definitely see that in our own board. And then we also heard from a great keynote speaker, Brandon Farbstein, who talked a lot about rising above adversity and talked about empathy, and just very meaningful to hear him speak as well. I'll hand it over to Kevin.
Thank you, Anisha. So I attended multiple sessions over the 3 days of the conference as well, and I'm not going to go into detail on all of them, but I'm just going to share from some that I considered highlights or sessions that were just of particular interest to me or to our board. I feel like in the last 2 years, I've learned so much about school district finances, mostly thanks to Stacy's wonderful presentation skills and the information that she shares with us in board-friendly language for all of us, which I appreciate. So just main points to consider when you're trying to understand or better understand district finances are what are your state's requirements in terms of budgetary restrictions and what buckets certain funds have to remain in and which ones you can or cannot transfer to other locations, requirements and recommendations around fund balances for your district, and again, it was a 60-minute long session, so there was a lot of information, but one of my big takeaways that I thought was just a great tip was their recommendation, the presenters, was that any board member should be able to quickly list 5 facts explaining the finances of their school district. So we'll be coming to you for some cheat sheets in the near future, Stacy. Another one, and Anisha mentioned this, she attended this one as well, hot button issues in school law. One of the main points that the speaker made was to focus on the difference between executive orders and laws. So going back to our high school and middle school civics classes, the way he phrased it I thought was really helpful. An executive order is a department regulation, or a directive from the executive branch about how they want laws to be enforced or interpreted. But executive orders are not laws because they're not passed by Congress. And the reason that was brought up is because there's been a lot of confusion or questions in many districts around the nation about Title IX, Title VI, the 14th Amendment, and so on. So basically, the key takeaway and recommendation from the lawyers who were presenting at this were whenever there's a doubt or a question, consult with your Board of Education's or your school district's legal counsel and make sure that you're following state laws and regulations, which we have been keeping up on, and we know that at District 25 we are following all IASB or ISBE regulations and all Illinois state laws and federal laws around Title VI. The next one, tools to optimize student achievement. So this was really about collective efficacy. For those of you who've heard me talk or Dr. K or others talk in the past about John Hattie research, collective efficacy is the highest effect size based on his research. So basically the shared belief by teachers and staff that we're all working together in an aligned way that will positively affect student outcomes will have the greatest impact on student achievement. And that the district's instructional framework is an anchor for building that collective efficacy, so it's important that as a board, just like our teachers and our staff, we're very familiar with the instructional framework of District 25. Student voice and community engagement, enhancing success. This was a presentation where they talked about moving the focus away from staff-focused lessons and more on student-focused lessons and family-focused activities and experiences. They did a district equity audit, and they did an activity called Portrait of a Graduate, where basically they asked themselves, they asked community members, they asked students, they asked teachers, what kind of a person do we want our students to be when they graduate from our district and when they leave and move on to their next chapter in education or to careers, to college, to members of the community at large. And they talked about how they had developed a principal's advisory council in one of their middle schools, 4 students, 2 each from grades 7 and 8. And basically the 8th grade students in that district served on a similar position to the idea of the student board members that Anisha was sharing about earlier. And basically the 8th graders would be kind of the members of that council, and then they would mentor the 7th graders who would then come up the following year and replace them. So it was really fascinating. And then, you know, those students gave them insights too on things like food service within the district, construction within the district, full day kindergarten as they were adopting that program, and so And then this is just a list of the additional sessions that I attended. Lots of interesting topics. The last couple gave me even greater appreciation than I already had for the hard work that I know Lana and Dr. K and Greg put into organizing and preparing for all of our meetings. So kudos to them. And if anybody has any other questions about any of those topics or wants to know more, I'm happy to share. And as Anisha mentioned, I've given you all access to our shared notes in Google Drive as well. Any questions at this time? All right, and I just also wanted to say how much I appreciate the opportunity to attend this conference. It was a great learning experience for me, and I truly enjoyed and appreciated it.
Well, thank you both, and thank you for modeling what we're all about here and that learning and sharing it with us. So we really appreciate that. We're now at the NSSEO portion, and Liz, we'll look to you for that.
Sure, thank you. So at last month's meeting, I introduced that I'd be attending a committee of the whole meeting. We talked about a new governance structure, and I attended that meeting. I have an update that I'll just read to make sure we're all on the same page. An overarching priority of the strategic planning meetings at NSSEO was to review the overall governance structure and identify ways that transparency and communication, along with a structure for increased collaboration between superintendents of member district superintendents and NSSEO could be achieved. The process has included a study of other special education cooperatives, a comparative analysis of the Articles of Agreement of NSSEO and other special education cooperatives, consultation with superintendents of member districts belonging to other special education cooperatives, and consultation with legal counsel regarding the current NSSEO Articles of Organization. So a lot of work has gone into this, a lot of thought. On March 31st, the NSSEO Governing Board conducted a committee of the whole meeting to discuss a specific topic. The consideration of an operational board composed of member district superintendents and the NSSEO superintendent as a board committee subject to the confines of the Open Meetings Act was a consideration, as was the movement of some of the duties of the governing board to the operational board. While this is how some area special education cooperatives function, the identified need for increased collaboration among superintendents to better inform decisions made by home boards, us, with regard to NSSEO does not require this level of formality. Through consultation with legal counsel, it has been confirmed that there is nothing in the current NSSEO Articles of Agreement, or OMA, that prevents the superintendent of NSSEO from convening an administrative meeting of member district superintendents to both inform them of the needs of NSSEO, which they can then discuss with their boards, and for NSSEO to receive feedback from member districts regarding their needs. So what came of this meeting is not what we expected. The structure and logistics are different. The heart and meaning behind it is the same. So the Superintendent Administrative Meeting, which will be named the NSSEO Superintendent's Council, is planned to occur approximately 10 times, so most months of the year, during the 25-26 school year. The governing board meetings, which currently take place 11 times per year, may be reduced from a monthly meeting to afford superintendents and their governing board representatives ample time to discuss the needs of NSSEO both before a member district board meeting and the scheduled NSSEO governing board meeting. Will be asked to vote the will of their board on various agenda items that govern the cooperative. So basically at the May 7th meeting, they're going to bring a calendar forward to the governing board, is what I sit on, and we will kind of compare what the superintendents need with the voting needs, and I will have more to share with you. I just wanted it to be clear that what we thought was going to come of this committee, the whole meeting, is not what came of it, but it's not a bad thing. We just are trying to give our superintendents the most flexibility that they can have. And Diane also attended that meeting. Thank you. Thank you to Dr. K for all the work that you've put in on this. This is a work in progress as the strategic plan continues. We have a meeting planned to sit and talk about finance stuff with NSSEO, so I'll probably next month have some report on that as well. Dr. K, would you like to add anything? I know you've been so involved.
Yeah, if you don't mind, thank you, Liz. So I just want to add that NSSEO is a cooperative of 8 school districts that we are one of those members. So you graciously sit on 2 boards, one here and one on behalf of this board with NSSEO. So I think the goal that we're trying to accomplish with that separate committee is trying to make sure that you have all the information you need from myself, from the financial meeting, from the special education meeting that Diane attends, and you can come here to our board to make sure they're informed before decisions are made at the NSSEO board. So we're trying to create a timeline that allows for superintendents, business officials, assistant soups for special ed to be informed, you also to be informed, but give you time to come here, collect some awareness and kind of leanings on where we as a board should go so that you don't go in as an individual, that you go in on behalf of the Board of Education on District 25 so that there's representation, not just of an individual, but a representative feeling from District 25. So that is what we're trying to create, and I know Meg Schnorr, the superintendent of NSSEO, is aware of trying to create that timeline to allow all boards the opportunity to meet about action items before you go to NSSEO to make a decision on an action. So it's just going to take a little time, and it is different than what the strategic plan process came out with, but that was the purpose of that committee of the whole meeting, to see if we would move forward with that direction or pivot and go a different way. So I believe what you shared is exactly what we're aware of as superintendents, and we also want that transparency and communication so that you're aware, the whole board is aware, before you go and vote on any action items at NSSEO. So thank you.
Oh, of course, one thing to add too is the member districts, we're trying to have consistent communication, so you are all hearing the same things that all the other board members in other districts are hearing. So I may talk a little bit more in the next year than normal about this as we figure out how we want to make the most informed decisions for not only our students, but with our dollars and our staff.
Thank you, Liz and Dr. K. And Liz, thank you. Yes, as you said, Dr. K, it's a whole nother board meeting. And we really appreciate you representing us there and doing it so well. So thank you. Now is the time on our agenda we set aside for community input. If a member of the public wishes to address any item on tonight's agenda, please complete one of the blue forms provided on the table by the door and hand the card to Lana O'Brien. Please note on your card if you wish to speak now at the first community input opportunity, or if you wish to speak later, should we have a second community input opportunity. We do have a blue slip, so I'll take the opportunity to share that the opportunity to speak to the board is provided for members of the public who have a comment to make about the business of the board. The board appreciates hearing from stakeholders and values your thoughts and questions. Public input can be helpful to the board as we strive to make the best decisions for the district. In order for the board to reserve sufficient time to conduct its business and operate its meetings in the spirit of civility and decorum, speakers are expected to adhere to the following guidelines. 1, address the board only at the time provided on the agenda and only after being recognized by the board president. 2, please identify yourself and be brief. Comments must be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per speaker. The board may shorten this opportunity in order to allow the maximum number of people the opportunity to speak. And 3, please be respectful and courteous. The board requests that you not make statements that are personally disrespectful or condescending to members of the board or staff. The board typically does not respond to comments or attempt to answer questions during the public comment period, but we do listen intently and sincerely appreciate the input from our community. As always, if you have included your email on the comment form, someone will get back to you regarding any questions or concerns. And so we have a request to speak from Mr. Ed Lipinski. Please, if you could step forward. And welcome.
Good evening. My name is Ed Lipinski. I am the Elk Grove Township Republican Committeeman and also a concerned citizen. On behalf of the families of SD 25, I am here tonight deeply disappointed, not just by the decisions made, but also by this board and the administration dragging our schools down. You have taken a once respected district and turned it into a battleground for political agendas. And for what? Many families move to this area for one reason: excellent education. Not activism, not ideology, simply strong academics and a safe place for their kids to be nurtured as they grow. But what we got was far from it. During COVID, parents finally saw what was taking place inside the classroom, and what we saw was alarming. Political surveys, gender books, climate fear-mongering, progressive messaging pushed onto our children. And when we objected, you ignored us. You've treated parents like obstacles rather than partners. Meanwhile, the basics of education, reading, writing, math, and science, are sinking. Report cards tell the real story. You failed the very mission you are paid to complete, and you doubled down. You roll out DEI, a costly, divisive initiative, while claiming it was about inclusion. What it really did was divide this community and distract from learning. And let's not pretend it was grassroots. It was pushed by political operatives using well-meaning parents as pawns. Now, those same parents are waking up and realizing that they were used. You hosted vaccine clinics for teachers and students without proper community input. You installed tampons in boys' bathrooms. You funded staff with exaggerated resumes and inflated salaries while ignoring the academic freefall. We need accountability. We need transparency. We need a full-scale audit to purge this district of political nonsense. Remove the DEI bureaucracy, the gender ideology, the climate propaganda, and every last trace of activist creeps. We demand that you put education back at the center focus, because families are fleeing. Private schools are booming. Parents are paying double in property taxes and tuition just to protect their child's innocence and their minds. We demand you correct course, restore academics, remove bias, and return our schools to the common sense mission they were built for. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have another request. Mr. Kevin Chaplin, if you please come forward, and welcome.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Kevin Chaplin. I've been a member of this community since high school, and have lived here and have continued to take pride in this community. I come to these board meetings and am compelled to speak when I hear other people disparage and try to put the board down. I am here to thank you for your efforts over the last couple of years to bring equality and equity to our students and to our community members. I am a Cranes recognized notable leader in DEI for the initiatives that I've done. I've been on civil rights pilgrimages to understand how I, as a community member, can do better, and how I, as a corporate member, can do better. And I want to thank the board members here today for what they have done and what they will continue to do. What you hear from certain people as they speak here does not represent our community, and I am here to thank you and to remind you that there are plenty of quiet voices that don't know that they need to come here and know that they need to speak. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next agenda item is the consent agenda, and this is an action item. So can I have a motion, please?
Mr. President?
Yes, Kevin.
I recommend that the Board of Education approve those items on the consent agenda as follows. A, personnel report and addendum to personnel report. B, treasurer's report. C, invoices. D, regular and closed session meeting minutes of March 11th, 2025. E, board bills.
Thank you, Kevin. And a second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Anisha. And Lana, if you please call the vote.
Scapalato,
Abstain.
Michael,
Yes.
Cerniglia,
Yes.
Buchberg,
Yes.
Tranter,
Yes.
Neerman?
Yes.
Jogi?
Yes.
Thank you, Lana. The motion carries 6-0 with one abstention. Yes, absolutely. Dr. K?
So at this time, I'd like to welcome up our Assistant Superintendent for Personnel and Planning, Kendra Perry, who would like to recognize somebody that was just approved in a new position that we want to recognize at South Middle School. Thank you.
Well, it is my great pleasure to be up here introducing another new administrator. And for the first time, it's not Steve Prorock, who I've gotten to introduce twice this year. Steve is stepping up into our principalship at South Middle School, so I do want to recognize him with his new name badge.
Thank you.
And leaving a vacant seat for Aubrey DeMuth, who we are incredibly excited to welcome to the district. Aubrey comes to us as a middle school junkie. She has had a long career, or a very notable career in middle schools. She has taught ELA and social studies and has been an interventionist in both reading and math? Yes, in both reading and math. Yeah, right? She can do it all. But the most notable thing is that she is coming to us from Middle School South in Lake Zurich to South Middle School in Arlington Heights. Very cool, right? Right? It's meant to be. She's also an Arlington Heights resident and happy to be here, but I will let Aubrey introduce herself a little bit.
Thank you. Hello. I'm not going to take up a lot of your time, but thank you for having me. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. During my time interviewing at South Middle School, I could tell that between the administrators that I was on the panel with as well as the staff, it really is a family atmosphere, and I'm super excited to join that family. I'm a middle school junkie for 16 years, bringing all of my skill set to South Middle School, but also super excited to continue learning from their amazing team of teachers and admin, and so I'm just really grateful to the board and the administration for selecting me.
There's your name badge. There's your gift. Welcome. Welcome.
Congrats. Congratulations and welcome. We're now at the student learning section of the agenda, and tonight we have an information item on professional learning. This was an agenda topic that the board had requested. So Dr. Fitzpatrick will welcome you to the board table. Thank you for joining us tonight. And we will find that for you. Yeah, and then when you're ready.
All right. So we titled tonight's presentation, Elevating Educators, because this is truly what professional learning allows us to do. It is not just a series of trainings or workshops, it is an intentional, strategic investment in the people who make the greatest daily impact on our students. Some of you may recall a presentation from November of 2023 when Brian outlined the work of the Professional Development Committee. That group was charged with designing a professional development model that could reduce the amount of time teachers are out of the classroom by shifting some learning time into the school calendar. The purpose of this presentation is twofold. First, to clearly outline what professional learning looks like in District 25, what we offer, how we structure it, and how it aligns with our district priorities. Second, we want to highlight why professional learning matters, how it impacts teacher growth, supports instructional excellence, and most importantly, how it leads to improved student outcomes. Throughout the presentation, we will connect back to questions previously raised by the board, particularly around time, effectiveness, and impact. We will also spend additional time on the program review process, which has emerged as a key structure for aligning curriculum, instruction, and professional learning. This slide outlines the structure of our presentation tonight. We'll begin by defining what we mean by professional learning and why that distinction is important. From there, we'll walk through the professional learning opportunities we currently offer in District 25, both those required by law and those designed to build instructional capacity. Next, we'll take a closer look at the District 25 program review process. This section will receive special attention as it's not only central to how we plan and sequence professional learning, but it's also an area where the board has requested additional clarity. We'll then discuss how we invest in teachers, including how we allocate time and funding. We'll share how we measure the effectiveness of professional learning and how that informs adjustments we make along the way. Finally, we'll close by highlighting how we continue to improve our professional learning systems and ways the board can support this critical work moving forward. So this slide anchors the rest of the presentation. The quotes you see here reflect a foundational truth. Professional learning is one of the most effective ways to improve teaching and learning. As noted in the research by Darling Hammond and Brown, high-quality professional learning is sustained, job-embedded, collaborative, and clearly aligned with both curriculum goals and student needs. It's also important to distinguish between professional development and professional learning. Professional development refers to one-time events, such as a workshop or conference where educators are introduced to new information or practices. Professional learning, on the other hand, includes those same opportunities but extends beyond them. It is an ongoing process where educators not only learn but also reflect, collaborate with colleagues, and apply new strategies over time. This cycle of learning, applying, and refining is what ultimately leads to lasting improvements in practice and student outcomes. District 25 is intentionally moved toward this professional learning model. That's why we invest in instructional coaching, team-based collaboration, and curriculum-aligned learning experiences. Research confirms that when teachers are supported through high-quality professional learning, student achievement improves. We want to take a moment here to highlight the foundation we use to guide the quality of our professional learning, the standards for professional learning developed by Learning Forward. Learning Forward is the national organization that sets research-based standards for effective professional learning across school systems. As shown on this slide, the standards are organized into three overarching categories: rigorous content for each learner, transformational processes, and conditions for success. Within those, there are 11 individual standards, including learning designs, implementation support, use of evidence, and professional expertise. These standards guide our approach in District 25. They help ensure that our learning opportunities are not only aligned to curriculum and instruction, but also collaborative and tailored to teacher and student needs. For example, we use the culture of collaborative inquiry standards to shape how teams use data during building-based data days, and we use the implementation standard to inform our program review process and how we roll out new curriculum resources over multiple years. The key takeaway is that professional learning is most effective when it is coherent and purposefully planned, monitored, and supported over time. These standards give us that framework, and we apply them consistently to strengthen both individual sessions and system-wide strategies. This slide highlights 7 research-based components of effective professional learning with examples from District 25 to show how each is already in practice. First is content-focused or curriculum-based professional learning. An example of this is our inquiry-based workshops tied to updated social studies curricular resources for middle school teachers. These sessions help deepen content understanding and instructional delivery. Second is active learning. We have a new professional learning opportunity called micro-credentials, which we'll talk about more in a minute. The first of these opportunities, Foundations of Literacy Instruction, will engage teachers in hands-on learning with reflection and classroom application, supporting them in internalizing and practicing literacy strategies. Third is collaborative learning. One clear example is our partnership with District 214 and Sender districts, where teachers in areas such as world languages, art, and band collaborate across districts to refine content-specific instructional methods. Fourth is modeling of effective practice. In preparation for full implementation of our new literacy program, HMH into Reading, Facilitators will provide demonstration lessons and coaching during the rollout, helping teachers visualize strong instruction and apply it in their classrooms. Fifth is coaching and expert support. Instructional coaches across all content areas have led mini and full coaching cycles using the student-centered coaching framework to guide goal setting, planning, and reflective practice. Sixth is feedback and reflection. Through our mentoring program, experienced educators provide new teachers with feedback and structured support through their first year, reinforcing reflection and continuous improvement. Seventh is sustained duration. Our Building Thinking Classrooms in Mathematics initiative includes multi-year book studies focused on research-based instructional practices at both our elementary and middle schools. Together, these elements ensure our professional learning is not only aligned with research, but also embedded in our daily work and reflective of educator needs. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Andrea.
So this slide highlights our new faculty onboarding program, a critical and contractually mandated component of our professional learning system in District 25. More than a traditional orientation, this 4-day experience is intentionally designed to support new educators as they begin their journey with us. Over the course of these 4 days in August, new certified staff are introduced to the district's instructional priorities, curriculum resources, professional learning structures, and student support systems. The goal is to ensure that every educator, regardless of role or building, enters the year with clarity, consistency, and connection. The experience is also role specific. For example, we provide differentiated sessions for related service staff, specialists, early childhood educators, and others to ensure their unique responsibilities are addressed. In addition, new staff are introduced to their mentors and have time to begin building those critical support relationships. And importantly, onboarding doesn't stop in August. It continues throughout the school year via our district mentoring program, ongoing check-ins, and access to targeted professional learning. This structure reflects our belief that supporting new educators early and often is essential to both their growth and to our students' success. This slide provides a closer look at the professional learning opportunities we provide in order to meet state-mandated training requirements. These trainings are required by the Illinois State Board of Education, or ISBE, and they ensure that all certified educators maintain licensure and stay current with laws, safety protocols, and student support mandates. While these topics are legally required, we still approach them with the same intentionality and commitment to quality that guide the rest of our professional learning. In some cases, these trainings are delivered district-wide. For example, our annual training on students with disabilities or educator ethics. In other cases, they are provided on a rotating basis or built into smaller group formats. This chart shows how we've structured mandated learning in recent years. It includes training on trauma-informed practices, DCFS reporting, ADHD, and more. We carefully sequence these over time to ensure compliance while avoiding overload for staff. We've also worked to align these requirements with our instructional priorities. For example, mandated training on supporting students with disabilities is often paired with learning around inclusive practices or differentiated instruction, making the experience more relevant and impactful. Ultimately, even when the topics are non-negotiable, the way we deliver the learning still reflects our values, coherence, clarity, and connection to student outcomes. School Improvement Days, or SIP Days, are one of the most important structures we have for providing ongoing, job-embedded professional learning throughout the school year. These days are built into our calendar and offer protected time for staff to engage in focused learning aligned to both district and building goals. This slide provides an overview of how we've used SIP Days to support professional learning across the district. Sessions often focus on curriculum implementation, data analysis, instructional planning, and collaboration among grade level or content area teams. For example, during our January SIP Day, teachers engaged in sessions that were differentiated by role, with elementary educators focusing on literacy routines and middle school teams working on standards-based grading practices. We also use SIP Days to build coherence across the system. While the topics may vary from school to school based on building priorities, there are always clear connections to district-wide initiatives such as program review, assessment literacy, or inclusive instructional practices. And because SIP days are scheduled throughout the year, they allow for follow-up, refinement, and sustained application, not just one-time exposure. Another opportunity for teachers to collaborate occurs during a contract-mandated teaming day held at the beginning of the school year. On this day, grade level teams engage with support service staff, articulate with their team and other grade levels, and middle school educators meet both by content area and as interdisciplinary grade level teams representing various subjects. Additionally, all staff can review students' IEPs and 504 plans, ensuring they are prepared to meet individual student needs from the very start of the year. Teachers consistently tell us that they value this dedicated time. It allows for meaningful collaboration, timely learning, and instructional planning that directly connects to their work with students. And from a systems perspective, SIP days are a key way we ensure alignment and momentum across schools and departments. While much of our professional learning is built into the school calendar, we also offer optional opportunities that allow educators to go deeper. Pursue
instructional coaching?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me go back to instructional coaching. Okay. Instructional coaching is one of the most effective and personalized ways we support professional growth in District 25. Our motto follows the student-centered coaching framework, which positions coaching as a collaborative, non-evaluative process grounded in student learning outcomes, not just teaching techniques. Under this model, coaches partner with teachers to co-plan, co-teach, model, and reflect on instruction, all with the goal of improving student achievement. Coaches provide feedback, facilitate instructional dialogue, and help educators translate new learning into daily practice. We want to take a moment to thank the board for supporting the addition of this role to our professional learning system. Your decision to invest in instructional coaching has made a significant difference for teachers across our district. One of the most telling reflections came from a third grade teacher who wrote, "I cannot express how impactful the coach's help has been to my math instruction. I've learned how to strategically group my students, give immediate feedback to them, and can now give you a better idea of how the kids are doing in early October, earlier than I've ever been able to do that with my students." This quote captures what coaching is meant to do. It builds confidence, encourages innovation, and ultimately benefits students. Our coaches serve educators across all content areas and grade levels through both mini and full coaching cycles. These cycles are flexible and teacher-driven. A cycle might focus on small group instruction, increasing student discourse, or aligning a new resource to instructional goals. Instructional coaching also plays a crucial role in program review and curriculum implementation. It connects the district's broader initiatives directly to classroom practice, ensuring that professional learning is not just understood, but meaningfully applied. All right. While much of our professional learning is built into the school calendar, we also offer optional opportunities that allow educators to go deeper, pursue areas of interest, and extend their learning on a schedule that works for them. D25 University is our internal catalog of optional professional learning sessions offered outside of contractual hours. These sessions are designed and delivered by our very own staff, often in response to teacher interest or emerging needs. The model is flexible. Educators can choose what sessions best support their professional goals, and offerings span a wide range of topics, include instructional technology, classroom management, and content-specific strategies. D25 University has become a valuable part of our learning ecosystem. Teachers consistently share that they appreciate the opportunity to learn from their colleagues and explore topics that directly impact their classrooms. These sessions promote relevance, autonomy, and shared expertise, key values in a strong professional learning culture.
This summer, we're proud to launch our very first District 25 micro-credential, Foundations of Literacy Instruction. This experience is based on the nationally recognized Language Essentials for Teachers of Reading and Spelling, or LETTERS training, and it aligns directly with our new elementary reading curriculum, HMH into Reading. LETTERS provides educators with the tools and understanding they need to master the fundamentals of reading instruction. It offers an in-depth look at how the brain learns to read and equips teachers with the strategies to support that process for all students. This science-based knowledge is essential for delivering effective, equitable reading instruction, especially in the early grades. The micro-credential is structured as an optional blended experience that includes independent study, face-to-face learning, classroom application, and reflection. Teachers will apply what they learn in real time, receive feedback, and engage with peers throughout the process. This is the first of what we hope will become a series of targeted micro-credentials aligned to district priorities. These deeper, optional learning experiences give educators the opportunity to lead their own growth in meaningful and measurable ways. On this slide, we want to talk a little bit about the District 25 program review process, which we've said is one of the most important systems we use to align curriculum, instruction, and professional learning. While it's often associated with selecting new materials, the process itself is much more comprehensive. It's a multi-year, research-informed framework designed to promote coherence, build instructional capacity, and support continuous improvement. We've updated the professional learning graphic shown on this slide to better illustrate how professional learning is woven throughout the entire process, an area where the board has asked for additional clarity. This updated graphic helps clarify how support is built in from beginning to end. This slide outlines the 4 major phases of the process: research, develop, implement, and refine. Each phase includes specific milestones and deliverables, and throughout, we rely on shared leadership and teacher voice to gauge decisions. During the research phase, teacher teams and district leaders examine current practices, evaluate standards alignment, review student data, and explore alternative programs. They also conduct a SWOT analysis of the current resource, survey neighboring districts, and gather internal feedback. This foundational work allows us to make informed decisions grounded in both data and professional expertise. In the 2-year development phase, teams select new instructional materials, design pacing guides, and begin drafting the multi-year professional learning plan. This professional learning plan is a core output of the development phase. It maps out how we will support teachers before, during, and after implementation, and ensures that we don't just change resources, but improve instruction. The implement phase also spans 2 years. This is when educators begin using the new curriculum and receive targeted support to do so effectively. Professional learning during this time is layered and sustained. It includes institute days, SIP sessions, team-based collaboration, modeling, and job-embedded coaching. Coaches are often assigned to specifically support implementation in classroom, helping bridge theory to practice. Finally, in the refined stage, we focus on monitoring and adjusting. We collect feedback from teachers, review classroom data, and make refinements as needed to instructional pacing, resource use, or professional learning. This ensures that the work remains responsive and that support doesn't end after year 1. In many ways, the refine phase is where the system stabilizes and long-term improvements take hold. Professional learning in this model is not a single event attached to implementation, but rather it is interwoven across every phase of the program review. It's developed early, delivered over time, and continuously refined. This structure ensures that teachers are not only equipped to implement what's new, but supported to do it well. This slide highlights why the structure of our program review process is not just practical. It's grounded in decades of research about what makes professional learning effective and impactful. You'll see here quotes from 3 respected researchers in the field: Helen Timperley, Rolf Blank, and Thomas Guskey. Each reinforces a key aspect of our approach in District 25. Timperley emphasizes that professional learning must begin with a clear focus on student learning. That's exactly where our program review process starts, which is by analyzing student outcomes, standards, and curriculum needs before selecting new resources or designing professional learning. Rolf Blank reminds us that curriculum-based professional learning, when tied directly to what teachers are teaching, has a greater impact on both instruction and student achievement. This is at the heart of our model. Every phase of the review process is anchored in content, and the resulting professional learning is tightly aligned to the instructional shifts we want to see in classrooms. Guskey's quote reinforces the importance of time, structure, and support. He notes that implementation of new instructional strategies requires follow-up, feedback, and the opportunity to reflect and refine. That's exactly why our program review plans include multi-year professional learning with ongoing coaching and refinement, not just training at the point of rollout. Together, these research voices validate the structure we've built in District 25. Program review allows us to support teachers through sustained curriculum-aligned professional learning that's designed to be coherent, actionable, and ultimately effective in improving student learning. So this slide puts numbers behind the commitment we've been describing, the actual investment we make in people. In District 25, we currently invest approximately $987 per full-time equivalent employee each year in professional learning, not including sub-coverage for teachers to attend. This number reflects not only the sessions led by the Department of Student Learning, but also professional learning provided by other district departments for all staff groups, including ATA members, TCAN, ESPs, and even board members. This investment covers institute and SIP days, workshops, new staff onboarding, steering committees, and department-led training in areas such as student services, multilingual learners, and technology. It also includes optional opportunities like D25 University and the rollout of our first district micro-credential this summer. As Linda Darling Hammond reminds us, high-quality professional learning is essential to helping teachers continually improve their knowledge and skills so they can help students learn. That's why our investment isn't limited to curriculum training. It reflects a broader system of support, one that helps all staff grow, regardless of their role. Joellen Killian echoes this point, writing that professional learning must be designed and supported as a system, not as a series of isolated events. This philosophy is deeply embedded in our work. From program review to coaching to onboarding, we structured learning to be sustained, job-embedded, and coherent across time. Ultimately, this investment is not just about dollars, but it's about values. We are making a conscious decision to invest in people because when we support adults in doing their best work, students benefit every time they walk into a classroom. This slide shows a visual representation of the amount of professional learning offered in District 25. Each bar represents a different professional learning structure. The bar on the left in red shows the amount of professional learning teachers receive while out of the classroom, such as conferences or curriculum training. The middle bar includes those experiences plus the structured learning offered during SIP and Institute days when students are not present and subs are not needed. The bar on the right reflects the research benchmark, which is 49 hours annually and is the amount of sustained professional learning associated with significant gains in student achievement. Currently, our teachers receive about 73% of this research-backed minimum. This is a substantial investment, but it also points to a clear opportunity. If we want to see stronger instructional impact, providing more time for high-quality professional learning is one of the most important and powerful levers we have. The quotes on this slide reinforce this idea. One emphasizes that professional learning should be ongoing and embedded, not isolated, and the second reminds us that we must be mindful of the amount of time teachers are out of the classroom, along with the need for professional learning time. So this slide gives us an opportunity to answer one of the most important questions we're asked. How do we know that professional learning makes a difference? So let me begin by orienting you to the graphs. These show MAP growth data for kindergarten students with fall to spring percentile gains in math on the left and reading on the right. Each graph compares data from 2 school years, 2023 and 24, and then the 24-25 school year, this current year. Noted on there is that kindergarten teachers participated in 14.5 days of professional learning over 3 years to prepare for the transition to full-day kindergarten. This learning focused on curriculum alignment, literacy and numeracy instruction, developmentally appropriate pacing, and play-based learning. So it's important to note that 23-24 was still a half-day program, and 24-25, this current school year, is our first year of full-day kindergarten. So while the full-day schedule itself undoubtedly contributed to improved outcomes, we believe the sustained curriculum-aligned professional learning teachers received was a major factor in helping them make the most of this additional time. In math, we saw an encouraging increase going from limited gains in 23-24 to 6 percentile points in 24-25. In reading, percentile growth from fall to spring increased significantly from modest gains in 23-24 to 10 percentile points in 24-25. Percentile shifts of 5 or more points in one semester, such as those in math, are considered notable. Gains of 10 or more points, like those in reading, may reflect a significant instructional impact. This level of movement is typically associated with strong curriculum implementation and instructional improvement. This data offers early but compelling evidence that the combination of high-quality professional learning and thoughtful program design, in this case a full-day kindergarten model, can lead to measurable improvements in student outcomes. And it reinforces what we believe to be true. Professional learning with sustained, attentional, and directly tied to instruction works.
So this slide brings together data and teacher voice to show how professional learning is experienced and valued by the educators engaged in it. Let's begin with the pie chart. This represents teacher responses to the prompt. This professional development will impact my professional growth or student growth in regards to content knowledge or skills or both. These responses were gathered after our January 6th SIP day. What stands out is that 98% of staff agreed or strongly agreed with that statement. This level of response reflects not only strong satisfaction with the learning, but also high teacher efficacy. Teachers believing that what they learned will make a difference in their instruction or student outcomes, something that was mentioned before in the meeting. The quote from John Hattie on this slide emphasized the same point. He writes that when professional learning is clearly focused on student outcomes, there's a much greater likelihood of change in teacher practice. That's why our professional learning, whether it's a SIP day, coaching cycle, or program review session, is always designed with student impact at the center. The two quotes from teachers help us see what this looks like in practice. One wrote, "I have a deeper understanding of how to easily incorporate reading during all parts of our day in ways to keep students interested and engaged." Another wrote, "I learned most about how to make reading lessons not only engaging, but also effective for every type of learner." Together, these voices and data points affirm that our professional learning model isn't just meeting a requirement, it's helping teachers grow, build confidence, and elevate their practice in ways that matter for students.
So while we've made important progress, we're also committed to continuous improvement. This slide outlines 7 key areas where we are either sustaining, expanding, or evolving our professional learning efforts to make them more impactful. First, we maintain a student-centered focus. This means professional learning must ultimately benefit students, not just build adult knowledge in isolation. We've fully adopted the student-centered coaching framework, which embeds coaching in the classroom and uses student evidence as the foundation for instructional planning. This model ensures that teachers' learning stays anchored to real-time student needs. Second, we believe in data-driven adaptation. We regularly adjust our professional learning based on teacher feedback and student data. A good example of this was in math when we noticed some instructional challenges in number sense and problem solving. We then responded by building in more job-embedded coaching and resources focused on these specific areas. Third, we're strengthening cross-department collaboration. Our program review process now includes key partners from our student services and multilingual learner teams. Together, we're designing professional learning that ensures students with IEPs and multilingual learners are fully supported, particularly in areas like equitable math instruction. Fourth, we continue to invest in leadership development. School improvement depends on strong instructional leadership. That's why we've expanded professional learning for administrators to include continuous school improvement, data-driven decision-making, and coaching so that they're equipped to lead growth at the building level. Fifth, we're exploring innovative delivery models. As you've heard before, this summer we'll be launching our first micro-credential, which will offer teachers that flexible, self-based, research-based experience tied directly to early literacy practices. Sixth, we emphasize sustained and collaborative learning. Our building-based data days are one example. Teachers work together to review student data and plan instruction based on shared goals. This is the kind of learning that is ongoing, reflective, and tightly connected to daily classroom practice. Finally, we are building capacity among those delivering professional learning. This year, coordinators, coaches, and administrators have received facilitator training in cognitive coaching and adaptive schools. These trainings are helping us strengthen our adult learning culture so that sessions are not only informative, but also engaging, relevant, and responsive. The final two slides provide a list of the research and sources that have guided the development of our professional learning systems in District 25. These references come from leading organizations like Learning Forward and respected researchers such as Thomas Guskey, Joellen Killian, Linda Darling-Hammond, and John Hattie. Throughout this presentation, you've heard how our structures, such as program review, instructional coaching, micro-credentials, and SIP days, are intentionally aligned with what the research says is most effective. This isn't accidental. We rely on this body of evidence to shape decisions and evaluate impact so that professional learning in District 25 remains both meaningful and measurable. These references also reinforce what we've said all along. When professional learning is sustained, collaborative, and directly tied to instructional practice, it has the power to shift teacher thinking and lead to real, lasting improvements in student outcomes. We'll continue to use these resources as we refine our practices, design new opportunities, and evaluate student impact moving forward. As we close, we want to thank you for the support you've already shown for professional learning in District 25 and invite you to continue being active partners in this work. There are several ways the board can continue to support high-quality professional learning in our district. First, by continuing to invest in time, whether it's supporting SIP days, teaming time, or onboarding structures. Time is one of the most valuable tools we have to support adult learning that drives student growth. Second, by supporting the professional learning of all staff, including certified, classified, and support staff. When every member of the system grows, students benefit. Third, by recognizing the systems we've built, such as program review, coaching, and leadership development, as strategic levers for long-term improvement. These are not one-off initiatives, but they are rather foundational structures. And finally, by championing the idea that professional learning is not just a benefit for staff, it's a pathway to better instruction, greater teacher retention, and stronger student outcomes. The research is clear and our early results are promising. When professional learning is collaborative and tied to curriculum and student outcome, it works. And with your continued partnership, we can build on that success. Thank you again for the opportunity to share this work with you tonight, and we're happy to take your questions.
Becky and Andrea, thank you. That was tremendous work, tremendous detail. What a deep dive. It was a masterclass, really, for us. Understanding, really, it was tremendous work. And so I think the board has an interest in really engaging, in honoring the work you've done. And so I want to look to my board members and wonder how you would feel if we table any questions for now, and that we invite these two amazing individuals back in May so that we can really engage without the pressures of, maybe fewer pressures of time in May. How would you feel about that? Is that okay? Great. So if that's okay with you, we'd love to have you back, and we might even forward questions in the meantime to Dr. K. But we look forward to that opportunity. And again, thank you.
You're welcome.
Really.
Yeah.
Mr. President?
Yes, absolutely.
On Rich's way out, he handed me just a list of, just kidding.
Brian.
You got me.
I've just got 18 quick questions, just quick. Metrics based. You got time?
No. We'll hear those in May. Go ahead, Dr. K, were you going to add?
I just want to say, Becky and Andrea, as you guys are leaving, thank you for your dedication to this presentation. I know it was a lot, and I look forward to inviting you guys back in May to digest some of the questions that the board has. So thank you very much.
Thank you again. Okay, we are going to move on to our business and finance section. We did have an agenda item for the Music for Youth contract, and right now that's being pulled from this meeting, and it will be on a future board meeting agenda. So we are going to move on to the 2025-26 NSSEO budget. This is an action item. Can I have a motion, please?
Mr. President?
Yes, Kevin.
I recommend that the Board of Education approve the NSSEO amended budget for 2024-25 and the NSSEO budget for 2025-26.
Thank you, Kevin. A second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Anisha. And Stacy, if you could take us through this information.
Thank you. You have a copy of the full detail of the NSSEO budget and a summary of the impact on the district. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull up my document here. As always, when we budget for the special ed tuition every year, we budget for the students that we know that we will continue with us next year or coming in from our early childhood program and will be attending both the NSSEO CERT programs, and I also include in the total tuition budget our students that are private placed, meaning they're in non-public settings, just so you have an overall idea of what our total tuition budget looks like. So I do budget for 4 extra students every year because come September, October, we can have a student move in at any time that might require services. We have students that start out the year in NSSEO services and start to transition back to our school, sometimes attending half the day in both settings. And we have students that may start out in our school settings and later be determined to be better placed at an NSSEO facility or program. So at this point, we know that we have 37 students returning with us and being placed at NSSEO next year, so our budget reflects 41 students. That's historically what I find covers what we need every year in terms of placement for NSSEO. We also have 5 currently known students that will be placed privately. As well, I do include some contingency money in that budget as well. Again, because we could have students come in that require to be placed in an outside program. Unfortunately, our tuition budget continues to grow. Overall, NSSEO's tuition as well is based on their teacher's contract and everything. So we're seeing tuition costs increasing anywhere at a low end of 3.2% to a high of 3.8% across the various programs that we utilize with NSSEO. So that impact, as well as the number of students that we place there, helps build our costs in our budget. Additionally, we have students that might require one-to-one assistance or one-to-one nurse services. So those costs are also included in this budget. So overall, just for NSSEO, we're looking at about a $200,000 increase year to year in our budget for their programs, and then tuition overall the same, about that $200,000 increase in the budget. At this point, we're not aware, part of that cost we do fund out of our IDEA funds. We haven't been notified of our allocations for next year, so I anticipate they'll be the same as what they are this year. So right now, the budget impact on that is almost that full $200,000 overall. The agenda item that you have in front of you does, I won't read it, it does detail, and it's similar to the past, the process that we go through in terms of determining the budget and talking through some of the financial implications of that. Continued this year, probably the biggest factor. Last year was the first year that we had a capital contribution as part of the NSSEO budget because a number of the facilities that they use need some significant work. That financial contribution will continue for the unforeseen future. I would anticipate probably forever because they should, similar to what our board has directed me to do is they should continue to fund for future capital needs as well as current capital needs. And that's about all I would share with that topic.
Okay, thank you, Stacy. Any questions from the board? All right, seeing none. Lana, if you could please call the vote.
Michael?
Yes.
Cerniglia?
Yes.
Buchberg?
Yes.
Tranter? Neerman? Jogi?
Yes.
Scapalato?
Yes. Thank you, Lana. The motion carries 7-0. And so now we're going to an information item. This is a presentation of the 2024-2025 tentative amended budget. So Stacy, if you could take us through this item.
Yes, again, this is for information tonight, and I would anticipate bringing it back for action not until the June meeting, because similar to the original budget, we do require 30 days in between a presentation of a tentative and adoption of a final, which we don't have between the April and May board meetings. A couple of the reasons for this amended budget. Two key reasons is, if you recall, we changed our capital asset threshold this year when we looked at board policy. We went from considering anything of $500 or more with a useful life over a year of a capital asset. We increased that to $5,000, which has really become an auditing standard at this point. But when we were doing the budget, I don't know that I did a really good job of maybe explaining that to all of our budget holders. So we did have some need. Those are not large budget categories in the big scheme of the budget. The state lets you spend up to 10% more or less before they require official transfers and board action. I'm not sure that we would even meet that threshold. With the, again, it's hundreds of thousands in a $90 million budget. So when you're talking hundreds of thousands, you only have, 20,000 to play with. So the budget is really just moving. There's no financial impact other than shifting for state reporting purposes and meeting state guidelines, shifting how we're classifying those assets. So that's one of the key factors. The other one is our bond proceeds. When we sold them at a premium. That does require a slightly different type of transaction entry in our journal entry, in our general ledger. So I worked with the auditors to get their recommendation for how those entries should be made. So that's also being reflected in this amended budget. And then we also were made aware that when we converted our energy provider, so ComEd is the distribution channel, but our electric provider, we shifted companies that provide that service. They did not, the new provider did not have the ComEd portion, the distribution portion attached to their invoices for the months of July and August of 2023. Long story short, we were getting notices, but there's also some spam things going on with ComEd that we were aware of, as well as ComEd wasn't really relaying clearly to us why we were getting these bills, but Ryan Schultz was able to go through, dig in the history, and realize that we did owe these funds to ComEd that exceeded $72,000, which again is pretty significant in the big scheme of the facilities utility budget. However, I'm actually increasing the total utilities budget in this amended budget by just over $300,000 because we've seen, I laid it out in the analysis, we saw a pretty significant increase in the price of natural gas after we had already, were locked into a contract, and the increase was not anticipated in this budget. So again, just the costs are going to be what the costs are going to be for the utilities. So just to put us in a safe position to not in total exceed that Fund 20 budget, I'll say for simplicity's sakes, I wanted to make sure we had enough cushion in there to cover the utilities we have for the remainder of the year. And Ryan did do a deep dive in there, and we'll anticipate some of those things moving into the future. So that's the only financial impact, is that $300,000, although there's, I think, an additional $400,000 through the premium on the bonds that we got, but it shouldn't have a significant overall financial impact. I don't anticipate we'll spend the full 316. Again, just being conservative and wanting to make sure that I'm comfortable not going over in total in that particular fund.
Thank you, Stacy. Thank you for walking us through that. And you included the timeline, so the next time it will come to us would be in the June meeting, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so we now reach the superintendent report. So Dr. Kay, I'll turn to you.
Thank you, President. I have a couple updates, and I'm going to adjust what my plan was. So I know I had 3 videos I was going to show. I'm going to cancel those 3. But I do want to highlight a very special birthday. We had Mary Stitt turn 100 years old on April 14th. The student body and the staff at Olive had a great celebration on Monday. They invited the available people from the board, any administrators from central office to join. So a couple of us were able to go over there and enjoy about a 15-minute recorded interview of Kathy McQuillan speaking to Mary Stitt in her home and getting a good appreciation for who Mary Stitt is to share with the current students at Olive. It was phenomenal, and all 600 plus students and a lot of staff were just silent, taking in the entire story that Mary Stitt had to share. It was awesome. So kudos to the Olive staff and the administrators for putting that on. It was no short of amazing. In addition, I had the opportunity with Anisha and her son Khalil to go visit Mary Stitt. I think that was yesterday. Feels like it's been a year between now and then. But Mary Stitt was gracious enough to host us in her house. And I will share a really funny story, at least it's funny to me. I have not seen Mary Stitt in many years. And when Anisha introduced her son, welcomed me in, Mary Stitt was very gracious and said, "Oh, Brian, it's so good to see you." And then she stopped and gave me a stare. And she said, "Brian, you have put on many pounds since I've last seen you." And I said, "Mary Stitt, your eyes do not lie. They are still working really well. It's been 50 pounds since I've seen you." So her enthusiasm, her energy, her comedic value, phenomenal. She was reading on her iPad the New York Times, an article about the Pope passing away. And we encouraged the opportunity to maybe help her write thank you notes to the Olive students and staff. And she said, "No, I have to finish the New York Times." So she is so continuously learning, even at 100 years old. It was phenomenal to be a part of it. So Anisha, thank you for making that happen. Appreciate your son for going as well on a day off of school. And Mary Stitt, congratulations. The staff and students love you in District 25. And it is a testament to that your name is on the building and just phenomenal. So congratulations, Owls, on your recognition of Mary Stitt. I don't know if you wanted to add anything, Anisha.
So the advice she gave to the students, and she kind of reiterated, was steps to a healthy life: eat your vegetables, drink your milk, and be a solver, not a complainer. So we're going to hold on to that. So truly very, very special.
I have another great opportunity. Over the next month, I get to participate in 9 staff meetings throughout the district, and the focus is on celebrating our staff for their years of service. So we honor milestone years of service, starting with 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 years of service to District 25. So it is a huge opportunity for us to say thank you for the dedication of our staff who stay for a really long time, half of Mary Stitt's life that they're dedicating into District 25. So far I've had the opportunity to hit up the South staff and the Greenbrier staff, and we've had many staff who have been here for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. It does start to slow down at the 30, but we do have a number of staff who have dedicated 30 years of their career here to District 25 students and community. So I'm excited to finish off all of those. On behalf of District 25, I want to recognize our Department of Student Learning. They were recognized this year by the Illinois ASCD, which is the Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development, for the Whole Child Award. So on behalf of the Department of Student Learning, I am pleased to share with everyone that the department has earned the association award for the SAFE Award this year. And this award recognizes Arlington Heights School District 25 for an academic vision promoting the development of the whole child, healthy, safe, engaged, supported, and challenged. Mary Stitt would be proud. So congratulations, Department of Student Learning, on behalf of the district and the staff. This is a huge accomplishment. I don't know where it's going to go at District 25. Maybe we'll start at Becky in your office. We're excited to put it up. And the last piece I have is to do two more things. One, I'm going to move to my second item, the Freedom of Information Act report. We had a number of FOIAs submitted, and all of those were responded to and according to the appropriate timeline. And last but not least, I have a special guest here, and I'm just looking at the time, 9:55 p.m. So Perry, I just want to say thank you for sticking it out, and I am so excited to welcome you. I'm going to have you sit where Becky and Andrea were. I'll bring the clicker over to you. We'll queue up the presentation for the strategic plan update. And as we're getting settled and I see the presentation getting ready, I just want to introduce a partner some of you may remember. Perry helped us create the current strategic plan that we have 6 years ago that we are currently living and thriving under. And one of the conversations I had at the last board meeting was, where do we want to go with our strategic plan? Do we want to do an overhaul? Do we want to do a refresh? And the conversation at the time with the board was, let's consider a refresh. So I asked Perry if he would be willing to join. I didn't say what time it would start in the evening, but I wanted you to be able to welcome back Perry as he helps us facilitate this process, kind of talk a little bit about the timeline, opportunities for input, where the board might be able to provide some input. And he is a former superintendent. He is a current professor at the University of Illinois, so he's currently still engaged in the deep work of student learning and staff learning. And I have tasked him with helping facilitate the presentation. If you want to modify the link, you have complete authority to do whatever you'd like to do, knowing the time you're starting. So thank you, Perry, for being here. Do you have the clicker? It looks like you do. Do you want to test it just to make sure it's working? Perfect. Perry, the floor is yours. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here. It has been 6 years, and since that time, lots of things have happened. Here in the district, statewide, to me personally, my wife and I lived in the city of Chicago for 20 years, and COVID made a mess of that. It made a mess of a lot of things, but in particular, our neighborhood was a great neighborhood, still is, right across from Soldier Field. And we had, in one weekend in our neighborhood, 50 carjackings at gunpoint. And our two daughters said, that's it. You are no longer the parents. We are taking over and you're moving. We weren't really thrilled about it because we knew that, like everything else, if you just give it enough time, things come around. But we did. We left the city because of my affiliation with Illinois. We moved to Champaign-Urbana. My youngest daughter, son-in-law, and 3 grandchildren live there. My oldest daughter, son-in-law, and grandchildren live in Downers Grove. They're much older, so we were here in Chicago to see all of their games and sit on all the bleachers and do rah-rah-rahs for quite a period of time, and then got to move to Champaign with younger grandchildren and are doing the same thing now. Career-wise, it did make a difference for me. I was very involved working more time than I really wanted to work, and I took that occasion to kind of step back. I have affiliated myself with the Strategic Management Group for the last 15 years, and it has made a significant difference in the way that I help to facilitate strategic planning. That happened before you did your last plan. They are an amazing international group. Their largest sector is healthcare. Almost every hospital in our country is a part of the strategic management group. They deal with most of the Fortune 500 companies and a lot of other business. Their third largest group is government, and their smallest group is education. And within education, the largest group is higher education. Their smallest group is K-12. So I have been working with them for the last 3 years to kind of grow the number of districts who get themselves involved, not just with strategic planning. Almost every district has a strategic plan. But many districts, if you look at about the second or third year of implementation, no one is really doing much with the plan. There are lots of reasons for that. We did a research study with 30 Chicago districts who are in and around the suburban area. Biggest change is a superintendent leaves. The new superintendent kind of wants a new plan. Second biggest change, board turnover. We have all of a sudden some issue that has created some anxiety in the community, and 4 new board members are seated. And those 4 board members want a new plan. So I would tell you that the largest reason deals with personnel, but following that, the next one is measurability. Everyone can talk about things they're doing, but no one can talk about their impact. So the Strategic Managed Group is a network, and in education, it is school districts that are trying to be the best they can be for kids, but at the same time, having responsibility and accountability for their results. And I think it's very timely because we're seeing right now, I'm sure you're seeing it, the largest threat to public education in my 40-some year career is today. It's amazing how many families are choosing other options. I know about your school district. I also know very well about your high school district that you send your kids to. And you are blessed in the fact that you've attracted great people doing great things. There's always people that are not going to be happy with what we're doing and want to have more. But for the most part, when we look at all of the research that defines for us what should a quality education look like, sound like, and feel like, you're on the list. And so you're in a very good place to start out with. And when Brian came to me, and by the way, I do have a lot of slides, but I don't ever have difficulty talking. So I'm kind of just going to talk my way through it, and if I need to click to a slide, I will. But he talked to me about the idea of a refresh and why a refresh might be a good alternative for you right now. And the more time I spent with him and the more I looked at your current data systems, I tended to agree that a refresh is a really great place. So the number one thing I wanted to talk to you about is, what does a refresh mean? Okay? So I'm going to click to this slide, which tells you that you're going to get the PowerPoint. So if you want to look into detail, you can look into it. But there are 2 things about a refresh that I felt were really important for all of you to know. If we do a refresh, we have less emphasis on the actual plan team and more emphasis on groups of people, students, staff, families, community, high school, creating products that we take to the plan team. When we did the deep dive into strategic planning 6 years ago, the plan team created the documents and we took them to stakeholders for their reaction. So a big difference is in the role. The plan team 6 years ago had 5 meetings. The refresh plan team will also have 5 meetings, but they will be spending half of the time. So instead of full day meetings, they will be having half-day meetings. And the reason is they don't have to do all the work. We do the work ahead of time. And lots of people can be involved in doing the work, and we take drafts to them. And then, even though they will look at the draft and offer ideas, we still take them back to the stakeholders at the end for their final. That was the second thing that Brian talked to me about, and that was the importance of the board wanting to make sure that we had a process that involved lots of people, giving their opinions, giving their feedback, having an opportunity to voice how they feel. And I will guarantee you that the refresh has more opportunities for that than the deep dive. All right. So we will have 3 parts to this. We began earlier today on part 1, which is getting ready. Getting ready will be from now until the end of September. And we'll be creating lots of little products. Those products will be things that we'll look at in order to refresh current parts of the plan. I'll give you a perfect example, and it relates to something that somebody said a little earlier. In fact, there were so many things. I'm glad I was here because there were so many things and a part of what you did tonight that tie directly into some of the work that we want to do. One of them is the idea of a portrait of a graduate. I'm not sure if you are aware of this or not, but we are very blessed because District 214 spent the 24-25 school year spending a good sum of money, which I think was very well spent, on involving a lot of people in the different elementary districts that come into the high school to create the portrait of the graduate. So we're going to have the full benefit of what they learned. And of course, your community is unique to the other elementary districts, but as we develop ours will have an opportunity to see the end product where all the kids who go on to high school will be looking for. So when we look at mission and vision, part of a refresh will be to add on, build up, renew, rejuvenate the current. And there are several aspects that we've learned over the last 5 years that are great ways of doing that. If I were doing a deep dive here, the draft would be created by the plan team. Doing a refresh, it's created by different groups. And appropriate, because if we're looking at a graduate portrait, and ours, by the way, will be more focused on what do we want every 8th grader who is promoted from 8th grade to 9th grade to know and be able to do. And having 4 years down the road gives us a lot of insight for that. There were also many, many, many perceptions. And District 214 sorted those into districts. So I've contacted them. They're very willing to share with us the 25 story. So we're really going to get some good bang for their buck. Okay? But I tell that as an example. There are many examples that I could give you, but a refresh basically means we're not going to take what we have and start all over. We're going to take what we have an opportunity to find out what did we accomplish, what didn't we accomplish, do we still want to do it, and how do we take the 5 goals that are in place and take those 5 goals and identify new strategies. So if there's one thing about your plan that I would tell you is going to be the biggest change, it'll be strategies. Because what we decided to do 6 years ago, and you've been working on, you've accomplished a lot of them, but new things have emerged. Okay? Really interesting. I'm going to tell you 2 of them that actually were part of the discussion 6 years ago. Full-day kindergarten. Okay? Boy, there was a lot of controversy about full-day kindergarten. And it was, we don't need it. Our kids don't need it. We don't have the space. We don't have the money. There were so many issues around it that we didn't toss it away. We brought it as something we want to investigate and look into. So you had 10 things that we wanted to look into and investigate. By the way, professional learning was a piece of that. And many of the things, it was so great for me to hear this because many of the things that have been developed by great people in this district came from looking at what we had and saying, it isn't that it's bad, but we could make it a whole lot better. And how do we want to do that? And the things, the University 25, many of the things were up on the board are things that came about through strategic planning. One of the things that I feel we're guilty about is that oftentimes we have this plan and then we get into doing the work and there's 2 things we forget. The first one is we don't go back and tie it to the strategic plan. So one of the things we absolutely recommend is that we have a section, just like you have several sections in a board meeting, but when you get to the action, one of the things we consider is any action that is impacted by the strategic plan. It calls to our attention, this is what we said we're going to do. Here's what we've done. Here's what the impact is. So, meeting agenda, and the second one is what I like to call soft accountability. I am a true believer in the fact that in public education, if we don't figure out a way to get into the accountability piece, public ed is going to be way, way, way different, even here. Because you're going to be impacted by voucher systems, you're going to be impacted by all kinds of rhetoric. There's lots of rhetoric going on right now. We're not here to talk about the politics of it all. We're here to just talk about the reality of it all. And I firmly believe that we have to get better at being able to share with people our impact. And that is done through measures. I can go to your website. I can go to the strategic plan. I can find something that says indicators and measures. I can click on them and I can see them. I heard, and I believe, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. You were talking about the 5 things. Kevin, and yours was the 5 things that you need to know about.
That any board member should be able to explain about the district finance.
Yeah. Well, I'm here to tell you that what will come about as a result of the refresh is there's actually going to be 25 things that every board member will know. 5 that are attached to each of the goals, and you're going to be able to tell the story of where you were, where you are now, and where you want to be. We haven't done here a good job of that. We've done a good job of getting to the actions and doing things and being focused on the things we said we were going to do. But no one clearly knows the impact of those. I love to see the 2 slides on professional development where at the end they told you about the differences in student learning at the kindergarten level in 2024 with half day versus 2025 with full day. Knowing impact is something that people are really wanting, but we have to do it in ways that it's easy for them to understand it. And oftentimes, and especially in the financial part of it, we use financial rhetoric that nobody's familiar with. And there's great ways of making school finance very understandable to families in the community. And you do it through good key performance indicators. So another example to give you is that we will be looking at your current measures, and we will be looking at what data do we have for them? What's the story for each of them? And instead of having maybe 14 of them, what are the 5 or 6 that we want everybody to know? We have developed a new system of accountability that has the scorecard and a dashboard. The scorecard is public, and the scorecard will have measures on it that most people in your community are going to want to know about you. It's certainly the things that every board member should know. No matter where you go, if anybody should ask you, you should be able to do this. I serve on a very large hospital board right now. That hospital board had training through the strategic management group. All of us on that board, we have 21 indicators. I can tell you on any given day where we are around those 21 indicators. And I can't tell you how helpful that is to me when I'm out with groups of people and they're talking about things and oftentimes talking about their perceptions that are not valid or accurate. But unless we can change that with clear data that gives us the opportunity to say, did you know that this last year this happened? And we can't do that around 100 indicators, but we can do it if we narrow it to about 5 or 6 per goal. Then we have the dashboard, which is the internal system. And to be honest with you, a lot of the data that's in there is formative data. A lot of it as it relates to learning, we can't share publicly, but we can internally. And so teams can have access to that data. So as we look at your goals, we're going to refresh the indicators. And we're going to look at ways in which we can build on what you're currently doing in order to live the plan through what I call soft accountability. It's accountability that is really based on growth and improvement, but it allows us to be more specific than just telling a few words that have no evidence attached to it. There's lots of misinformation, right? And it's everywhere. And to some degree, it's well-intended people, but it's well-intended people uninformed. And so a big part of strategic planning, and something I want to make sure we build into the refresh process, is how are we able to tell our story in order to let people know our impact? It doesn't mean that we're going to hit every target. But if I know we're moving toward every target, and I know that we hit well over 2/3 of them, it's okay that we didn't hit the other third of them, but maybe we didn't hit the other third of them because we set the wrong target. It's an art and a science to set a target. And so teachers want to make sure that the reality of everything is told. And sometimes raw numbers don't. So you have to be careful with how you will go about telling it, how you go about reporting it. And so your refresh is going to be looking at ways that we can kind of improve upon what you're already doing around that. So I'm going to stop. I think I've addressed most of the issues that I think you would be concerned about, and I would be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
I just want to say thank you, Perry. I really appreciate it. And Perry will be here tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon working with our teams. So if you had more questions, he will also be on site if you wanted to not only stop by, but you could send me questions for him to consider.
I would say one last thing. I was giving you the timeline, and I gave you part 1, readiness now, until the end of September. Then we would call together the refresh plan team. They would hold their 5 meetings in October, November, December, if necessary January, but I think we can do it before the holidays. We would actually have a draft in January, seek more feedback again on the draft, and bring a plan to you for approval in February. Then we would spend the last part of the year with everybody knowing how do we get this plan up, getting it running, putting the new refresh items in place for the following year. Okay?
Thank you, Perry. Thank you, Dr. K.
And that does wrap up my superintendent report. Thank you, Perry. I will see you in the morning.
You will.
Drive safely, and I'll see you in the morning.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Sure. Pleasure meeting you.
I wanted to quickly say something.
Please.
If I might. Perry, I wanted to say welcome back. I was here 6 years ago when we worked closely together as one of the board members on the stakeholder engagement group that you had. And you have such a knack, it's 10 o'clock and I feel like you had all our attention. You have a real knack with strategic planning, and we're so glad you're back and working with us to help us with that soft accountability that you're talking about. And you did that stakeholder engagement so well last time during COVID, at a time when we weren't really used to these Zoom meetings and so forth, but you facilitated it so artfully. So I can't even imagine how amazing the strategic planning journey is going to be, being in person with everything that you're doing. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Anisha. So at this point, we did have a community input section, but because of the hour, we are going to omit that. And I would encourage community members, of course, you're always welcome to come back to our next meeting, or you can reach the board at boardfeedback@st25.org. And of course, all the board will see that. So right now, we're at the future agenda items section of the meeting, and this is going to be very quick. These are items I had discussed with Dr. K. And all that we're doing right now, board, is just us. I need a consensus on can we talk about these as a future topic, probably in May. But, so there's 2 listed and 1 extra I will mention. So first is, we've done board meetings with other local government groups, the Park District, the library. So what I want to see is, would you have an interest, 1, in talking about, do you want to continue those, but also, should we systematize those so that over a several-year period, we would be hitting all those groups, and some we haven't done in recent years. So would you be open to discussing that? Great, thank you. The second is a potential new committee. It's a finance committee, and this has been discussed with Stacy. She's aware and supportive of the opportunity. And briefly, the discussion could start in a place where this new committee would not be an OMA group. It would just be 2 board members meeting with Stacy, perhaps quarterly, to build up our capacity in the financial area, especially with the transition we have coming as Stacy looks to retirement, and then we will be better empowered when we have a new CSBO. So could we talk about that further in the future? Thank you. And the final one, this will be under new topics. It's not listed, but it's very small. I think there's an opportunity for us to update our board committee names, particularly EdRed, because it's covering a lot more, and IASB, which is talking about COSBA. But we can fine-tune that at a future meeting. Is that okay? Great. Thank you for moving with me through that efficiently. So the board will now be going into closed session. The board cannot take any action in closed session, and we will not be taking any action when we return to open session afterwards. Can I have a motion, please?
Mr. President.
Yes, Kevin.
I recommend that we move into closed session for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors, or specific volunteers of the district or legal counsel for the district, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor or a volunteer of the district, or against legal counsel for the district to determine its validity, discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed, whether for purposes of approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by section 2.065 ILCS 120/2, student disciplinary cases, the placement of individual students in special education programs and other matters relating to individual students, litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular district has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the district finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the closed meeting minutes.
Thank you, Kevin. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Anisha. Lana, if you could please call the roll.
Cerniglia?
Sure.
Hookberg? And I'm sorry.
It's okay. Yes.
Tranter?
Yes.
Neerman?
Yes.
Jogi?
Yes.
Scapalato?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Thank you, Lana. The motion carries 7-0. And thank you everyone that's been here for the full meeting, and we'll see you next month.